Good morning. Thank you for allowing us some extra time this morning as we got ready for Senate Finance. So welcome. There is an overflow room in 21, Mr. Thorley, what was the overflow room?
2144.
2144, if anybody needs a seat, and there isn't one. And welcome to Carson City, Las Vegas, and those in attendance online. Would you please take the roll?
Senator Buck. Here. Senator Cannizzaro. Here. Senator Neal. Here. Senator Wen. Here. Senator Stone. Here. Senator Taylor. Present. Senator Titus. Here. Chair Dondero Loop.
And I am here. Thank you very much. We are all present and accounted for. And just as a reminder, please mute your cell phones or electronic devices. Remember, when you are speaking, to state and spell your name. Please, if you have a card, hand it to the secretary. That helps with our record keeping. We're going to go slightly out of order today. We have a couple members that are presenting bills that are in committees and a couple members that are here. So we're going to do the members that are here, and then we'll save the other members for when they're further on in their committees. So we're going to start today's bill hearing with Senate Bill 277. Senator Cruz Crawford is here to present this bill. And welcome to Senate Finance. We're happy to have you.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair and Committee. My name is Shelley Cruz Crawford, for the record, Senator for Senate District 1 in beautiful North Las Vegas. I am joined on with a Zoom presenter, Catherine Dockweiler, Dr. Dockweiler. She is here available for questions in the cost implementation phase of this bill. So Senate Bill 277 is a bill that does two things. It enhances mental health-based supports for students in public schools, and it streamlines the licensure process. The reason why I'm here today is because I had a fiscal note added by Washoe that is about $15 million to hire a one-on-one social worker. This bill does not require the hiring, so they were able to remove that fiscal note. So now I am here sharing that the fiscal note is removed from the bill. And with that, I sit for any questions.
Thank you very much. So just so we're understanding, all the fiscal notes are removed on the bill?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. All right, any questions from the committee? Senator Neal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So for Clark County, they had listed that it was unclear on the contractor, use of the contractor, and how it would be a limited scope of practice. Did you work that out with them? Because in their fiscal note, they said contractors have a limited scope of practice within schools, which can result in a lack of efficient response and student reentry planning. And this was a concern for them.
Shelley Cruz Crawford, for the record. Thank you for the question. I will circle back with him, but from the conversations that I had with Mr. Keating at CCSD, they were looking at the implementation of first hiring at the school before utilizing contractor, and with the change in the amendment with the permissive language, I believe we cleared up that concern, but I will circle back with him. We were waiting through a change of superintendency, and now that we shifted, I will check. I believe it was all taken care of, but I don't want to say that without being 100% sure. So I'll text Brad after this and get you that information. Thank you.
Thank you. And Senator Cannizzaro.
Thank you, Madam Chair. When I'm looking through some of these fiscal notes, which obviously I think you said all the fiscal notes have been removed. We talked about Washoe specifically. In the local government fiscal note pieces, there were some, and this was as of March, there were fiscal notes from some of the other school districts, from Churchill and Elko, Lyon, Pershing, and White Pine that they had fiscal impact. I don't know that we have gotten any confirmation from those school districts that the bill as amended removes those fiscal notes. And so I don't know if you've had any conversations with those school districts and can confirm that they believe that those fiscal impacts would be mitigated with the amended version of the bill.
Thank you, Majority Leader Shelley Cruz Crawford. For the record, with the amendment, it took them all out, so I didn't have personal conversation with them, but I can circle back with them on that. They were taken out with that population cap. Thank you.
Great. I just wanted to thank you, Madam Chair, and I just wanted to make sure, and thank you, Senator, just wanted to make sure that we had a record of that, that those would no longer be affected. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Additional questions from anyone? All right. Hearing none, thank you very much. We'll go to those in support here in Carson City. And please go ahead when you're ready.
Good morning, Dawn Echeverry, President of NSCA. NSCA supports SB 277 to require schools to employ a school social worker to the extent funds are available. Educators are committed to success and well-being of students. Social workers play an essential role in addressing the social and emotional needs of students, serving as a bridge between students, family, and the school community. NSCA believes the addition of a school social workers is merited and asks for your support. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Don Darrell Loop. and
I know
members
it's
of the
early, not enough coffee. It's okay.
That's right. That's how it is.
We're going to start serving coffee in here.
There you go. There you go. Members of the committee, Susan Keema for the record, Keema. I represent the 17 public school districts superintendents through the Nevada Association of School Superintendents, and we support SB 277. Once the amendments were made and the language was made permissive, our superintendents were on board. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Any additional support here in Carson City? Seeing none, we'll go to Las Vegas. Any support in Las Vegas? Seeing none, we'll go to the phone lines. AVH, when you're ready. And if you are calling,
you.
I'm sorry, if you are calling in, the number is 888-475-4499. Participant ID 775. No, never mind. It is early. Meeting ID is 858-016-15593.
Thank you, Chair.
AVH, go ahead when you're ready.
If you would like to testify in support of SB 277, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue.
Good morning, everyone. Anna Binder, Binder. I'm calling in support of this. I'm so glad to hear the fiscal note removed and this moving forward. It's long overdue for our students. Thank you guys so much.
Good morning, committee. Brad Keating for the record, representing the Clark County School District. I know there was discussion this morning. I just wanted to clarify again for the record. So Clark County School District is in support of this. We do not currently, nor did we ever have a fiscal note on this bill. Just wanted to clarify again that there's no fiscal note initially from the Clark County School District, and there's no fiscal note moving forward based on the amendments as well. Thanks.
If you have recently joined us and would like to testify in support of SB 277, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no further callers wishing to provide support testimony at this time.
Thank you very much, and we'll go to opposition. Is there any opposition here in Carson City? Las Vegas, AVH on the phone lines. Any opposition?
Thank you. If you would like to testify in opposition to SB 277, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no callers wishing to provide opposition testimony.
Thank you very much. And we will go to neutral here in Carson City, Las Vegas, and AVH on the phone lines.
Thank you. If you would like to provide neutral testimony for SB 277, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no callers wishing to provide neutral testimony.
Thank you very much. And with that, Senator, do you have any closing comments? Okay, with that, then we will close the hearing on Senate Bill 277, and we will jump to Senate Bill 174. Senator Orenshaw, join us. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Dondero Loop, members of the Senate Finance Committee. James Orenshaw, I represent Senate District 21 down in Southern Nevada. Thank you for hearing Senate Bill 174. There is an amendment that was sent to the committee, and that amendment is a product of a discussion with representatives from the Nevada Department of Education. The bulk of that amendment is deleting sections 7 and 8 of section 1.3 of the bill as amended originally here in the Senate when it came out of the Senate Education Committee. On the basis of those conversations, I believe that amendment would reduce the fiscal note that was submitted by the Nevada Department of Education. Not eliminate it, but would reduce it. And as to the remainder, hopefully the amendment's there, but if not, okay, great. As to the remainder of what is in the fiscal note submitted by Nevada Department of Education, it's my belief, and it's the belief of a lot of the proponents I've been working with on the bill, and I do have Mike Lee, who's on Zoom, who is a dad with a child on the spectrum. He's an attorney down in Southern Nevada, and he and I have worked very closely on the bill, along with a lot of other proponents down in Southern Nevada. I've got Julia Ostrovsky, who also is a parent of a child on the spectrum, and has worked very closely with me on this bill. She's both advocates, and they can also help answer any questions as well if there are any that I can't answer because they were part of that meeting. As to the remainder of the fiscal, I believe a lot of these services are already needed to be provided pursuant to the IDEA, to Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act. So certainly I have not gotten that fiscal from NDE eliminated, but I believe this amendment reduces it. As to the amendment, the fiscal note, pardon me, from the Clark County School District that had been put on, I believe, on the original bill, that lists a zero fiscal, but then lists there's a long narrative after that that lists a lot of potential areas of fiscal impact. I believe a lot of that was addressed in the original amendment that was presented to the Senate Education Committee. But again, I can't speak for the Clark County School District, but I do believe a lot of that was addressed as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. All right, with that, any questions? Senator Cannizzaro.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Senator Orenshaw, and it's good to see you, Mr. Lee, via Zoom. Thanks for being here. Okay, so I know you said that you thought there was a reduced fiscal note from NDE. Do you have an updated number on what that would be with this amendment?
James Orenshaw, Senate 21, through you, Chair Dondero Loop, to Senator Cannizzaro. I do not have an updated fiscal. My belief from the conversations is that the amendment should reduce the fiscal note in the area of $200,000, but that's based on the conversations from that meeting.
Okay, no, that's helpful. I just wanted to know if there had been a firm number, but obviously we can follow up with the department on that to get a sense of what that fiscal note was. And then I think you addressed my other question was just on the Clark County piece, that it seemed like they had some concerns, but it looks like that was from February, so probably addressed with the amendments adopted in the original policy committee.
Thank you, James Orenshaw, Senate 21. I certainly hope so, to the majority leader.
Additional questions? Senator Neal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Senator Orenthal, for the smaller districts like Washoe, White Pine, did they take theirs off? I mean, they have 0, but then they have in their written comments that there will be costs for implementation of the bill. So,
James Orenthal, Senate 21, through you, Chair, to Senator Neal. I'm not aware of any updated fiscal notes from either Washoe or White Pine. Certainly, look at them, they were 0, but the comments talk about possible impacts that are hard to predict. The amendments have tried to delete the reporting requirements that we thought was a major cost burden. I also believe that if children who need to have a provider there are able to, I think that there will be more successful outcomes, and some of these impacts might be reduced. So I believe that might address some of those, but I'm not aware of updated fiscals from Washoe or White Pine.
thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. That was going to be my question because I noticed that only Clark County School District answered, if you will, with a fiscal at 0. So I was trying to figure out where the other school districts were in the mix. So thank you. Additional questions from the committee? All right, thank you very much. And if you'll just step back, Senator, we'll go through the process and then we'll bring you back up. All right, we'll go to those in support here in Carson City.
Hello and good morning, Madam Chair, and members of the committee. For the record, Trevor Parrish with the Vegas Chamber. The Chamber is in support of SB 174 from the fiscal perspective and the changes it proposes to make public and charter schools more inclusive and accessible to students with disabilities. Thank you to the bill sponsor and thank you for your time and consideration.
Hello, Chair Dondero Loop. Good morning, members of the committee. My name is Devin Ashoff, Devenaschoff, up here on behalf of Toro University, Nevada. We wanted to say we're in strong support and we're so very proud of the incredible work we do at our Pierce Autism Center. We wanted to thank Senator Orenthal for bringing this bill forward. We really support it and we urge you guys to do the same. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Seeing no more in support here in Carson City, we'll go to Las Vegas. Please go ahead when you're ready.
Good morning, Senator. Julie Ostrovsky, for the record, JulieOstrovsky. I am in strong support of SB 174. I submitted comments, but what I want to focus on is I had the honor of being a part of the meeting with the school districts, and staffing is still on there for getting a person to coordinate all of the efforts of allowing these professionals to push in. So that's, I believe, the only fiscal note we have left when we removed the reporting requirement. Also, the person who is pushing into the classroom in agreement with the IEP team, the teacher, the administrators, is being paid for by either Medicaid because that child is already getting services paid for, and or insurance. So there is not a cost to the school district for that professional to go in the classroom and work with the teachers and staff. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members. My apologies. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Eric Lovas, ERIKLOVAAS, President of Lovas Center here in Las Vegas. I've been providing services here for children with autism for 30 years. Approximately 25 years ago, Clark was mandated to pay for services due to violations of FAPE, and those payments, that contract with outside agencies like Lovas Center went on for about 15 years. During that time, we developed really solid relationships with the district, including a gentleman by the name of Scott Reynolds, who then was Director of Special Education in Clark County School District. He took a job in Washoe County as Assistant Superintendent of Schools and developed a pilot program in Washoe to provide services like ours between the district, Washoe County School District, and community. That pilot program went on for about 2 years. Today, it's my understanding that Washoe allows outside providers into the schools, and I'd like to think that that investment by Mr. Reynolds is the reason why that relationship is currently in Washoe County School District. We are full support of this bill. This is a bill that's forward thinking, and it's a great financial investment. And we look forward to having a positive relationship again with the districts in Nevada. And a special thank you to Mike Lee and Samantha Lemons.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Yesenia Gonzalez for the record. YESENIA GONZALES. I am the Vice President of Azul Blue United by Autism. We serve the Las Vegas community here, have been doing so for over 10 years, and we are in strong support of Senate Bill 174. We believe that having applied behavior analysis in our kids' schools not only would be beneficial for our kids, but also for the staff in our kids' schools. You have a lot of data that is also very beneficial, especially when you have MDTs, you have these school psychologists that could definitely benefit from this. Teachers can focus on teaching and not having to have to worry on the emotional, everything that comes with a behavior that could be easily remedied by having the therapist on site to support the student. So you'll have a student focusing on their academics and also at the same time benefiting from the services. So you won't have any FAPE violations. To be quite honest, when I hear about that there is FERPA violations, it's not, as you heard. It is being paid by Medicaid. It's time that people start to focus on what is best for the children and start helping them. It's very stressful and really sad when you have to hear about families having to make a choice between, do I pull my child to take them for therapy services and then have the retaliation from the Clark County School District when they receive these truancy letters. So it's a very tough decision to make, and the child does not get their education. So we strongly support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else in Las Vegas in support? We'll go to the phone.
Hi, my name is Rebecca.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So sorry. My name is Rebecca Raynoa, Raynoha. I'm a mother of a special needs child as well as a BCBA. I'm so thankful for this long overdue bill. I think my colleagues summarized the needs extraordinarily well. All I think about are the kids that I have had in my practice that have started with ABA, gone to school because they have an immense skill set that is ready for school, that are then pulled because of behaviors and have to return to a more restrictive setting like my setting. One of my most recent clients who is diagnosed with fetal alcohol syndrome had his first day with us this month. I remember the call with his mom, who was sobbing while she is explaining that the school kicked him out again because of behaviors, and that this time a school administrator told the child, if this happens again, they will be forced to call police. This was said to a 7-year-old. My son also has these needs and has tried school several times. He has a dual diagnosis of PTSD and global developmental delay, symptoms that strongly overlap with autism. ABA gave my son his voice back, and we have attempted to get him into school multiple times to be told the same thing repeatedly. We don't have the resources. We can't help. You can't have your staff here, even though that is what he needed. I want to shorten therapy for kids. I want them in a least restrictive setting. And to do that, we must do it successfully and give them that blanket support. This should not be a sink or swim. That's not the most effective use of our money. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Stephen Cohen for the record. Stephen with a V, Cohen as in the now former Assemblywoman. In general, ditto. But then the other thing I want to bring to the committee's attention is last session I wrote an amendment to Assembly Bill 54 concerning therapeutic absences for things like ABA. And it was enrolled, but then schools are either not adopting it at all. It's being enforced on a school-by-school basis, or and there's been no guidance from NDE on the issue. Thank you, I yield.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else at the table in Las Vegas? Seeing no one, AVH, we'll go to the phone lines in support.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Lee, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Mike Lee for the record, MikeLee. Not to touch on other people's points, but just want to point out that we did amend the bill to have section 1.3.3, which is the insurance requirements, the privacy laws, and also to comply with school rules. In April, we did discuss with Clark County School District some of their concerns, and we added section 5. Under section 5 of the bill, we specified that the school districts would be relieved of providing services that are provided by the outside personnel, that there's no financial liability, and that the school is not responsible for billing. So we have engaged with the school district and with NDE to try to address any fiscal concern. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lee. Is there anyone else on the phone line? AVH, when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. If you would like to offer testimony in support of SB 174, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue.
Hello, this is Chelsea Bishop with Act for Kids Nevada, CHELSEA BISHOP. We are in strong support of SB 174. We care deeply about having more access to comprehensive health care for Nevada families, and we know that many families can benefit from these services. Personally, I had a daughter who I would remove from school to take 2 therapies, and while it was not autism, but I know this applies to others areas as well. I know the effects that it can have when you have to choose between therapies and school. And we are so grateful for those that are working on this bill. And we know that it has a really positive effect that can happen for Nevada families. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Next caller, please.
Caller with the last 3 digits, 778, please press star 6 to unmute yourself.
Hi, this is Michelle Scott Lewing, President for the Autism Coalition of Nevada. I just want to say that we, as a coalition statewide, strongly support SB 174. Very pleased to hear of some of the revisions on the fiscal notes, and that agencies statewide are amiable to such revisions. That's wonderful. Just want to make sure that everybody's aware that how much we support this bill. And since I'm occasionally located in Florida from time to time, I know that the bill in Florida also has been very effective for the therapists in the classroom. Sorry, anyway. Thank you, and we're very grateful for your support in this bill. Thank you, Senator Orenshaw and members of the committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, AVH. Is there anyone else on the line?
Yes, Chair. One moment, please. Caller with the last 4 digits, 841. You are unmuted and may begin.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Eve Erickson Woodruff, spelled EVERIKSSON, WOODRUFF. I am a parent to Evelyn, a 7-year-old girl who's nonverbal with level 3 autism. And I strongly support this bill because she's being excluded from public education due to her disability. I want to ditto all the comments before me and I urgently request your support for SB 174 so my daughter and other children like her can attend school and be part of her community. Thank you.
If you have recently joined us and would like to provide support testimony for SB 174, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue.
My name is Randy Haas. I'd like to provide support for SB 174. I have a son with autism who's come a long way with ABA, and without it, he would not be talking now. He would not have skills now. It's extremely crucial. This is a very important bill that needs to be passed. It needs to be taken very, very seriously that without this, these kids and young adults are in a world that they cannot communicate in and not live in. It's critical, extremely, extremely critical that we pass this bill. Thank you. I'm a registered nurse. I have a BSN in nursing, and I can tell you in nursing school, ABA was not taught to us, and society needs to understand and be educated about what we can do. Having RBTs in the school is essential for our kids to be productive and focus and attend and learn. And we need this more than life. Thank you so much. ABA has done so much to help my son. And I hope that you consider this bill to be passed. Thank you very much.
There are no further callers to provide support testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. And with that, we'll go to opposition here in Carson City. Opposition in, oh, sorry. Please come forward. Thank you. Please go ahead when you're ready, Ms. Kima.
Susan Kima for the record. Madam Chair, I need your guidance. I am going
That is a very scary thing on this end.
I messed up my introduction the first thing, and now I'm asking
We're
for
here
guidance.
for you.
Okay. I am going to testify as the executive director for NAS.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a letter from the state special ed directors that they have asked me to read into the record, and I have provided it to your staff so that you can review it later. The director that was supposed to be here today had an incident that she needed to attend to at the school district. And so I need your permission to read it into the letter or ask what you would like to do.
That would be acceptable. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Susan Kima for the record. I'll be reading a letter of opposition to SB 174 from the district special education directors to Nevada lawmakers. We respectfully submit the following to clarify critical, legal, and practical implications regarding proposed legislation that would allow or require schools to permit medically necessary ABA treatment/therapy during the school day. Under IDEA, Nevada school districts are legally obligated to provide free and appropriate public education to students with disabilities. This includes instruction aligned with state content and performance standards delivered through the IEP at no cost to families. It is important to emphasize medically necessary ABA therapy is not considered special education or a related service under IDEA, nor does it fulfill the requirement to provide instruction that meets state's academic standards. The only medical services LEAs are required to provide are for diagnostic or evaluation purposes as stated in U.S. Code of Federal Regulations 34 CFR 300.34a. requiring all or encouraging schools to allow non-IEP medical services during instructional time creates both educational disruption and legal liability. The school district is tightly structured to deliver academic content and IEP-driven supports. Permitting external providers to work with students during the time means sacrificing instruction in reading, math, or special education services, potentially resulting in denying FAPE. Furthermore, allowing outside providers over whom school districts have no direct supervisory authority into educational settings exposes districts to significant legal risk. In the event of injury or misconduct, the LEAs are likely to be named in legal action regardless of indemnification agreements. Finally, noting in IDEA mandates that schools provide medically necessary services unrelated to education. The bill's language risks confusing the legal distinction between medical treatment and educational services, placing undue burden and liability on schools. Special education directors agree with all areas identified in the upcoming superintendent's opposition to this bill as well. We urge careful reconsideration of any proposal that compels schools to accommodate medical ABA services during instructional hours, as it may conflict with federal law, compromises students' educational access, and exposes districts to avoidable legal consequences. And then I do have a list of all the districts that have supported this, and the only district that we were unable to contact was Washoe, but all 16 out of the 17 public schools supported this letter, and they worked together on it.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your time. Okay. All right, with that, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Tom Clark. That's Tomclark. Here on behalf of the Nevada Association of School Boards, we have been opposed to the legislation based on the policy discussion that was stated previously. However, speaking just to the fiscal note side of it, for this committee, we really don't know what the costs are going to be, especially in our rural districts, to have a third-party person come into the district. First of all, from a security perspective, there's a lot of steps that need to be taken to do that. The bill prescribes writing a plan. Of course, those issues will be addressed in that plan, but there could be costs associated with that. If you have a district that has numerous students that need to have this type of intervention, while we totally support the concept of, getting that student as many services as we possibly can, it could be a position where the district itself has to assign or hire somebody to implement that particular program. So there would still be a fiscal cost to that. So it's the background checks, it's ensuring the security, and just making sure that this third-party observer or practitioner is going to be a safe asset within our school districts. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Susan Kima for the record, Executive Director.
Pause just a minute. Mr. Clark, you're being summoned. Senator Neal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'm listening to the comments around the outside providers and then the scope of the work and how there's no, control over what would be the legal liability. But I guess what triggered was, what's the difference between the contractor position that was brought forward in the other bill by Cruz Crawford, where she's having contractors come in as social workers? Isn't that a third party where the districts are then entering into a contractual relationship with a third party contractor to do a thing in the school? So what would be the difference if you took on the third party behavioral specialist or whatever that came in? Wouldn't that be further defined by a contractual relationship?
Thank you, Madam Chair, to you and through you to Senator Neal. I think the distinction being, first off, the district would have a contract with that social worker in that particular bill. And the way that this bill is prescribed is that there is no formal legal engagement between the district itself and the third party that's coming in. All we're going to be able to do under the plan is to put in those steps to ensure that that third party individual isn't is going to be safe within a school environment. And then if there are more than 1, 2, or 3, if the district feels it's necessary, they may want to have somebody in that classroom to observe, to make sure that the third-party person is following all of the rules that we put forward. So that's where the fiscal notes could come in, is for the implementation of the plan, not necessarily we're not in direct opposition to having folks come in. We just need to make sure under this particular piece of legislation that plan is so succinct that we make sure that the students and the faculty are safe.
Thank you for that. It sounds like a simple amendment, right? If it's about the legal relationship between the party and just inserting that is a mandated provision in the plan. Why couldn't you guys work that out? Why is that being worked out in the Finance Committee?
Madam Chair, to you and through to Senator Neal, Tom Clark for the record. We could have that conversation with the sponsor, of course, and Mr. Lee to see if we can't solidify that language on that. And was trying to address just the fiscal note for this particular committee, but we can talk offline about it as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for those questions. All right, thank you, Mr. Clark. Okay, Ms. Kima, we're back to you.
Susan Kima, for the record, Executive Director for the Nevada Association of School Superintendents. We represent all 17 public school districts. We are in opposition of SB 174, and we have a list of concerns. Overall, the bill as it's currently written is still in conflict with IDEA requirements, are unclear with the lines of accountability, resulting in legal and ethical concerns for districts. For example, we need to address FERPA. Involving external providers may lead to violations of students' confidentiality and breaches of data protection laws. FAPE. Free and appropriate education. Non-LEA providers could compromise a student's right to FAPE by interfering with IEP implementation and educational goals. There are fiscal fiscal implications. Thank you. Districts will need added fiscal resources for consulting fees with legal counsel to assess the impact of FAPE, policy development, setting boundaries for both sides of the coin here. There'll be funded needed for additional coordination time with outside providers, the IEP team, training for both parties, and districts' policies and restraints and methodologies, since oftentimes outside providers' methodologies are different than the school districts, and the allocation and cost of the physical space that might be needed to do this. All of this causes additional administrative oversight and burdens on schools. Let's address Medicaid. The bill raises questions about how multiple service providers billing Medicaid will affect the school's Medicaid reimbursement supports. And if you looked at some of the exhibits, there's also concerns about that as well. Fiscal liability, there's a risk that outside providers may not be able to pay for services delivered in the educational environment, leaving districts liable. Not all families have equal high-quality insurance, which creates equity issues. Also, the education issues, but I thought maybe we should highlight those financial ones since you're a financial committee. And just on the medical treatments, we support the district special ed director's concerns on that topic, as well as potential HIPAA violations. The state has existing support for ABA services. The state NDE already offers programs that allow families to access ABA services outside of school using existing financial support systems. A reasonable goal would be to work within the existing system to continue to bring high-quality services to our students. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, is there anyone else in Carson City in opposition? We'll go to Las Vegas. Is there anyone in Las Vegas in opposition? And phone lines, AVH, when you're ready, in opposition.
Thank you, Chair. If you would like to deliver testimony in opposition to SB 174, please press *9 to take your place in the queue.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can.
Hello, Chair Dondero Loop. My name is Elise Monroy Marsala. I am a parent of a child who is chirping in the back seat on the way to school. And I am unfortunately continue to be in opposition to SB 174 because of the third party language requirement. Unfortunately, with the inclusion of this language that allows for a third party payer to be billed, this bill will only help some children. This bill will not help all children with autism or disabilities in Nevada. My child is a fifth grader at a Title I school in Washoe County, and he was covered through Public Employees Benefits, or PEB insurance, which provides barely any coverage for services with autism. So we had to get on Katie Beckett Medicaid, which was an absolutely horrible process. I would love to come back and talk to this committee about investing in improving Katie Beckett Medicaid access. I'm glad that we have Katie Beckett now so we can get him the support that he needs, but I'm continue to be concerned about the inclusion of the third-party payer language in this bill, as this will create disparity for children in public classrooms. If the committee wants to make an investment to support this bill, I know, buddy, where I'm almost done. If the committee wants to make an investment to move this policy forward, and again, the amendments aren't posted online, so I can't see what the adjusted fiscal note is, but going off of the fiscal note that's posted, it's $500,000. The state could invest $500,000 into doing a legislative audit to understand why school districts are not currently complying with IDEA requirements that require schools to provide these services at no cost to families, or the state could invest $500,000 into making Katie Beckett Medicaid accessible. I'm so disappointed that I have to be in continued opposition to this bill, but unfortunately, as well intended as this policy is, it will only help some children. We need to make systemic change that will help all children. Thank you for hearing my exhausted parent concerns today, and please do not support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for calling in, and thank you to your child for being patient as you drive away. Thank you very much. All right, AVH, anyone else on the phone line?
Yes, Chair, one moment.
Good morning, Chair Dondero Loop, Brad Keating for the record, representing the Clark County School District. I want to first apologize to you and the committee. I had a 7:30 a.m. focus group with families to talk about services for next year at our family engagement centers that ran a little over, but I called in immediately as quickly as I could for the previous bill and this one as well. So I want to apologize to you all for my absence in person. I want to say that we are opposed to this bill. But before anything else, I want to thank as much as I possibly can Senator Orenshaw, Mike Lee, the stakeholders in this bill. We have worked tirelessly to try to get this to a bill, to a place where everyone could support it moving forward. You heard from Ms. Kima and Ms. Clark. Unfortunately, there's just not a place currently that we can be at that we are fully supportive of this bill. Two things and pieces. The majority leader asked about Clark's fiscal note in February. There are pieces that would come off of that fiscal note. There are also pieces that potentially would be added, but we're just unsure currently, right? I just want to focus on two things fiscally for the committee. The Medicaid piece, allowing external providers to bill Medicaid without a coordinated system, prioritizing district claims would divert essential funds from public education, despite the district remaining responsible for IDEA compliance and FAPE. So the law allows for a total of 40 hours per week of services to be provided or to be billed back to Medicaid. There would end up being issues between both the school district and the private provider in those areas, which would probably lead to a decrease in funds coming to the school district. On the other note, there's discussion of assistive technology in there that would be mandated and triggered if the parent or legal guardian requests that. That creates an unbounded cost exposure. So there's no cap on the potential volume of scope of requested services, leaving districts vulnerable to overwhelming demand without additional funding. For example, if all families on a caseload requested Braille instruction, For instance, the district would need to hire approximately 90 to 100 teachers of visually impaired. That would extend to production and equipment. A Braille program, for instance, costs $18,000 at a minimum. The machines and the equipment cost $6,000 to $10,000 each. So there are a lot of pieces in here that are just difficult to fully explain and write a number on a piece of paper because there are so many different factors with the bill. But I do, again, want to say thank you to the sponsor and the stakeholders in working with us. The amendment today, taking the reporting off, is greatly appreciated. I think that helps everybody. It's just at this point, we can't get into a place where we're all supportive of this bill moving forward.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keating. Is there anyone else on the phone line in opposition? ABH, when you're ready.
One moment, Chair.
Good morning again. It's Anna Binder, Binder. And Madam Chair, maybe help me with this because I have 2 points, and I wasn't sure exactly how to do this. First and foremost, as a member of the Commission on Autism Spectrum Disorder, our commission does support SB 174, and we have a letter forthcoming. Secondly, as the vice chair of the Nevada Governor's Council on Developmental Disabilities, we actually do oppose SB 174 for all of the reasons that you've heard in testimony this morning. I want to, and we want to echo Mr. Cohen's concerns that he raised in support that we need to have some consistency with that previous bill and full implementation of it. But as we stand at 9:12 this morning, and also I have a lot of gratitude to Senator Orenshaw and Mike Lee as well, but we also still have many unaddressed concerns, and we really hope that they'll be able to resolve them before any work session. And we really don't like to be in opposition right now, but unfortunately, that's just where we are. And then also for Elsie, I'm going to get a hold of you because I have work on Katie Beckett, and I thought we had already touched base on that, but I also echo what she said about the Katie Beckett program. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, AVH. Is there anyone else on the line in opposition?
If you have recently joined us and would like to offer opposition testimony for SB 174, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no more callers to offer opposition testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. And we'll go here in Carson City to neutral. And please go ahead when you're ready.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Zachary Kahn, Z-A-C-H-A-R-Y-K-H-A-N, and today I'm speaking on behalf of the Nevada Department of Education. The amendment proposed for SB 174 reduces the fiscal note for the department, removing the request for a management analyst and approximately $100,000 in contracts. However, our fiscal note will still include one education program professional who will provide guidance and support to the dispute resolution process. We anticipate reducing the fiscal note from approximately $609,000 over the next biennia to $289,000. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else here in Carson City? Not seeing anyone? We'll go to Las Vegas. Not seeing anyone come forward. AVH, is there anyone on the line in neutral?
Thank you, Chair. If you would like to testify in the neutral position for SB 174, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no callers wishing to offer neutral testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. And with that, any closing comments, Senator?
Chair Dr. Loop, members of the committee, James Orange, Senate 21. Try to be very brief. A lot of the comments in opposition were policy-based, not fiscally based. Appreciate all the stakeholders who've been working with me. We've tried to address a lot of their concerns with the amendment in Education Committee. I think the bill, as it came out of the Education Committee, certainly gives a lot of flexibility to each district to develop their own policy. Section 1.3, sub 3, sub B, sub 1 certainly requires that any provider carry a policy for professional liability insurance, adhere to any relevant state and federal privacy laws, including without limitation of the Federal Educational Rights and Privacy Act. Don't want to go into too much detail. The points that were brought up by Mr. Keating regarding Braille services to the blind, it's my firm belief that's already required under the IDEA, under free and appropriate public education. So certainly want to keep working with all of the stakeholders, and I appreciate NDE's comments that fiscal note has been reduced from 609,000, I believe, to 289, and I hope the committee will consider moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, with that, we'll close the hearing on Senate Bill. Don't go anywhere, Senator Onshaw. Close the hearing on Senate Bill 174, and we'll open the hearing on Senate Bill 380.
Thank you, Chair Dondero Loop, members of the Senate Finance Committee, James Orange, State Senate District 21 down in Southern Nevada. Senate Bill 380, there is an amendment which should be on Nellis and should be distributed to the members, which changes the mandatory training for law enforcement officers that the bill originally envisioned to make it optional training, to allow that to be something that police departments, law enforcement agencies could opt into if they choose to, rather than have that be mandatory. I believe that should address the majority of the fiscal notes that were put on by different law enforcement agencies at state and local levels. It doesn't address every fiscal, but I believe as to law enforcement agencies, it should address those.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much. We'll go to those in support of Senate Bill 380 here in Carson City. Seeing none, oops, you got to be quick around here or you got to be gone. Thank you.
Yoana Ontiveros on behalf of Touro University, Nevada. We are in support of 380 and would like to thank the sponsor for bringing this bill forward.
Thank you very much. Any additional support here in Carson City? In Las Vegas, please go ahead when you're ready.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Julie Ostrovsky for the record, Ostrovsky. I'm a parent of an adult with autism. I have a nonverbal son with autism. He's not independent. He will live with me as long as I am alive. I am his voice, his caregiver, his protection, his person, and his mom. And I strongly support SB 380. I brought a little prop you probably can't see, but this is important. It goes on my son's seatbelt. It says autism, nonverbal, do not leave unattended, may not respond to verbal commands, emergency info inside, and they can go in and get contact information for everybody else in my family if God forbid something happens to me. SB 380 will protect children with autism. This bill gives peace officers the tools they need to identify and engage safely people who may be nonverbal, not who are trying to be non-responsive, who are afraid, not running away from a peace officer, who need help but may be unable to ask. This bill suggests peace officer training include tools on how to recognize autism and engage people with autism safely. Section 4 of this bill is important. It allows registered behavioral technicians, known as RBTs, who are background checked by the FBI for employment with any providers and have completed 40 hours of training and have applied for registration with the state of Nevada through the Applied Behavioral Analysis Board, the ABA board, to work under direct supervision of a licensed behavioral analyst who is professionally and legally responsible for the performance of the applicant, while the board, state of Nevada, the ABA board, continues with the registration process. This supervisor is licensed, insured, and liable for the RBT to work with people with autism, while they're waiting for their state registration and additional background checks to be processed. DPS, the Department of Public Service, has improved immensely its system, and it's modernizing it. So as of June 2025, state background checks that go through DPS are processed faster, and the results can be reviewed online by authorized personnel. However, the ABA board staff of 2, and I admire them, it's 2, with one of them authorized to review the background check reports, still must process new registrations and all renewals. The board is about to embark on the first renewal since its inception, which can be between 1 and 2,000 renewals. The profession's losing talented, trained RBTs because of the length of time it takes for the state to complete a registration. Current statute allows for 120 days for the state registration process to be completed. Would you wait 1 to 3 months to get paid and begin work? That's what we're trying to eliminate here. I know that the board has been reporting faster registration since session began, but that's not for everyone and it's not typical. This bill will address unexpected delays. We must get our potential workforce working. And in my submitted document, and I believe a few others, we've provided the charts and the flow charts of what happens when you apply, when your background checks happen. We still want 2 background checks. We want everything to happen to protect people with autism. For example, my son, I don't want to put him in jeopardy in any way, shape, or form. And so we're not taking away anything the board is doing, the state is doing. We're just adding a workforce development option.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your information. All right, is there anyone else at the table in support of Senate Bill 380?
Good morning, Madam Chair. Yesenia Gonzalez for the record. I'm not only going to be speaking as the Vice President of Azul Blue, as we strongly support both portions of Senate Bill 380, but also as the mother of a son that has autism, as an adult that has autism. I'm not ashamed to say that. As many possibly saw last month, unfortunately, there was a child that tragically died, Victor, shot 9 times. And I'm only mentioning that because had law enforcement had the proper training, the tools at hand, that could have been something that could have been strongly prevented should an officer had the training on how to de-escalate a situation. Not all officer interactions are bad. I've had the privilege of knowing amazing CCSD officers and come to be friends with many of them. And at times, some of them have asked me if my nonprofit that I serve could train them. And unfortunately, we cannot do that because we do not have that training. We refer them to the Nevada Governor's Council on Developmental Disabilities. We would love every interaction to be peaceful. However, when there are informal student removals, it's a tragic thing to see when you see a child being handcuffed, removed off of school property. And many times these children are scared. These children are nonverbal. They cannot communicate. And the individual, whether it's an officer or another staff member, don't know what they are dealing with. Now, if you have an officer that has the proper training, you can have 0 of those situations. I would hate for something like that to ever happen to my child. My child has on his backpack, he's in high school, he has a medical alert that says he has autism. And that's so that people are aware, should my son ever freak out, have a moment, they know what's going on. We have heard many horror stories. And I'm going to bring up my director's son's last day at his high school. He was removed in handcuffs, and unfortunately, it was on the news. Now, that officer, had he had the training, would have known that that wasn't necessary because the child was calm, 100% calm. And what we want is to not have any more of these interactions anymore. I would hate for that for me as an adult, for me to ever have that sort of interaction. So we would like to say that we strongly support both aspects, me as a mother, vice president, because we need to stop this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there another person at the table? There you are. Thank you very much. Go ahead, please.
Hi, Rebecca Raynoa, Raynoha. I ditto everything Yesenia just said about first responder training. I have worked with clients that are older, high intensity, and I'm always worried about if they ever encounter law enforcement, whether or not that encounter will be safe. As a BCBA, I want to speak about the portion of this bill on RBTs processing through the state. I have directly observed the impact of our current system on RBTs that attempt to enter this field or attempt to stay in this field. When I last provided public comments in March, I mentioned that we had a 1 in 5 success rate. Between March and May, that is at 33%, with our fastest processing at 4 weeks, but still standard at 6. Additionally, we have had an influx of people moving into the state. I had 3 out-of-state applicants that moved to Nevada. Upon providing the resources of how to become registered with the state, 2 of them decided to leave the field. One of them continues to intermittently touch base with us, but primarily seeing if we can hire her before she has cleared with the state, which would be a strain on our resources. People can't wait 4 to 6 weeks to be employed. They will leave. We are already seeing that we are not competitive with other states and that we are driving people out of this field. And because of that, there's going to be less people to provide services, longer wait lists, moving further away from EIBI. And what this all ultimately means on a finance portion is that you're going to have to pay on the back end when these individuals get older. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Chair, and members of the committee. Stephen Cohen again for the record. Ditto as previous. Just want to bring to the committee's attention that this training movement, I believe, and I forget if it's Virginia or West Virginia, as was previously said, started with one family. And that's all it takes to have a negative interaction or preventable interaction with law enforcement to bring something to policy and finance. So please invest whatever money is necessary. Thank you. I yield.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Eric Lovas, Lovaas. We support both components of this bill. I want to speak particularly on the registered behavior technician portion. We, as an agency, do a background check. We've been doing background checks for the last 30 years, and we won't put people in the field until they're completed. I like that we have a board here. I think the way the law was written was a good idea about execution. So we're asking that there's an amendment to the bill so we can continue to do our background checks and forward those to the board when completed and get the approval from the board. Our hands are tied right now in hiring new people. It's not a house on fire. There's 47 other states operating successfully without a board. And we ask that these amendments be made so we can continue to provide services for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Seeing no one else at the table in Las Vegas, we'll go to the phone lines. AVH, when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. If you would like to testify in support of SB 380, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue.
Senators and committee members, thank you so much. My name is Jan Crandy, for the record, Jancrandy. I am calling in support of SB 380. We have worked hard to build a community that will be able to provide the police training. We have a team already put together in Nevada that will offer this training for the agencies that want to participate. We hope they will participate. That removes the fiscal notes. On Section 4 specifically, I also want to mention that we're asking for the certified registered behavior technician, once they've completed their first background check, they've received their certification number, that they be allowed to work. This is that's step one, which the majority of states already allow this. And that is one of only 4 states that require the additional state registration. We're just asking that while the state registration process is going, they would have already had to apply for their state registration, submitted for that background check, so they're going to be doing 2 background checks, and be able to work immediately after that first step 1 is done, like the majority of other states do, while their registration is being completed. We're not asking the board to do any additional work. They'll be doing exactly what they're doing now. So that should remove their fiscal note. If you look at that section, that piece has been more clarified with this amendment that's on there now. And this can also be a business choice. This allows for companies, if a company says, I don't want my RBTs to start working until they've completed state registration, they can wait. Or they can go, oh, there's unexpected delays. It's taking over a month. I want my RBTs to start working right after they finish step 1. So it allows for businesses to make the choice. And the licensing supervisor is responsible for the RBT. The company or the BCBA has to have liability insurance that covers the RBT. The umbrella that the National Certification Board has, they also have discipline over the RBT once they have received their certification. And the state has jurisdiction over the person that's licensed, that's overseeing the RBT.
Thank you very much.
So thank you very much.
Additional phone lines, callers, ABH?
One moment, Chair. Caller with the last 3 digits, 778. Please press *6 to unmute yourself.
Hi, Michelle Scott Lewing, President for the Autism Coalition of Nevada. For the record, thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee, and Senator Orenshaw. I just want to mention, so historically, the Autism Coalition of Nevada has provided law enforcement training in Nevada at various agencies and law enforcement agencies and hospitals and first responder organizations. So we are absolutely willing to continue that process and are willing to provide the training at no cost to agencies that reach out and ask us for that help. We also have some wonderful private donors that are willing to provide charitable donations to help us continue with that training throughout Nevada. I also want to mention, as a mother of 2 children with autism, and in particular, my son Chase, who's 25 years old now, thank goodness is able to drive a car, something we thought he would never be able to do. Otherwise, he, has the hallmarks of high functioning autism, wearing the headsets and a lot of pacing and a lot of the things that, we understand with autism. But one of the concerns that really touches my heart is that he will ask me, because of things that he's heard in the media, Mom, if I get pulled over, am I going to get shot? Mom, if I get pulled over for any reason when I'm driving my car, are the police officers going to arrest me? So I think, he's heard enough and seen enough through media that it's concerning to him, and it must be concerning to lots of other individuals with autism. So I think it's so important that we change the narrative and that we provide the training and start getting the message out there that law enforcement is trained. They do understand autism, and I think we should, put energy into making sure that that message gets out. And the only way to do that is through training, statewide training. So we really appreciate any support on this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
ABH, any additional callers?
Yes, Chair. One moment.
Thank you, Chair. This is Eve Erickson Woodruff. As a mother of a nonverbal autistic child, both components of this bill are I support. In regards to the RBT part of this bill, this directly affects my family because Evelyn needs 30 hours of ABA every week, and that's often not happening because of staffing issues. And so I also would like to ditto the comments of the parents before me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. ABH, any callers?
Good morning, Anna Binder again. So I'm in support of this, as I previously testified, and I just want you guys to hear, as many of you know, also a mother to children with autism. I am grateful for all of the investments that our law enforcement agencies have made. My son hasn't had encounters with law enforcement already, and we live in Henderson, and I am so grateful for being able to call for a crisis intervention officer. And they, on arrival, are very well trained and able to complete the task at hand while we await ambulance services. So I do appreciate that and hope that that is almost everyone's experience when faced with that. So that's my individual testimony. As a member of the Commission on Autism Spectrum Disorder, we are in full support of this, and another letter will be forthcoming on that. And the Nevada Governor's Council on Developmental Disabilities has also previously provided support testimony, and I was just notified that the training is optional, but if that's the way to get this done, then that is super great. And again, recognizing the individual investments that each law enforcement agency has made on their own in partnership with other partners in our state is just amazing. So thank you guys all for your time, and we really hope you support this.
Thank you very much. Additional callers? ABH?
If you have recently joined us and would like to offer support testimony for SB 380, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no more callers wishing to offer support testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to opposition here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone lines. ABH, when you're ready, in opposition.
If you would like to testify in opposition to SB 380, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Caller with the last 3 digits, 161, you are unmuted and may begin.
Good morning, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Dr. Bridget Fernapfel, for the record. That's Fronapfel, and I am the current chair of the Nevada Board of Applied Behavior Analysis. While in support of law enforcement training, unfortunately, I and the majority of my board are in opposition of a portion of SB 380, specifically Section 4, subsection 2, related to the temporary status for registered behavior technicians while they await an approved state registration. As I have previously stated on the record that the proposed regulatory changes are not necessary and do not consider the current licensure and registration data that has been supplied by the board. Additionally, data that was presented in support of this bill in relation to my board and current processes is inaccurate. For example, we are not currently in a renewal season as it was just completed in December of 2024. I'd like the opportunity to present accurate data on behalf of my board in relation to this legislation in place of inaccurate reports and assumptions. In relation to this specific committee, the bill does not contain a fiscal note for the financial impact it will have on my board and administrative staff in order to process and supervise another level of licenses and registration that are outside of our current process. This is concerning as the financial impact on our board has not been considered with this proposed legislation. I encourage the committee to remove this portion of SB 380. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else in opposition, AVH, when you're ready?
Caller with the last three digits 518, you are unmuted and may begin. Caller with the last three digits 518, you are unmuted on our end, however, you may be muted on yours. Excuse me, Chair, the caller seems to be having difficulties. Would you like to move on?
Please.
Thank you. There are no more callers to offer opposition testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to neutral here in Carson City, Las Vegas. And on the phone lines, AVH, when you're ready, in neutral.
If you would like to provide neutral testimony today for SB 380, please press *9 to take your place in the queue.
Good morning, and I apologize. I hit the wrong button at first. I'm actually testifying in opposition. Thank you to the chair and committee members. My name is Gwen Johnson, representing the Nevada Association for Behavior Analysis Public Policy Committee. After considering the current amendments to SB 380 and the data provided by the Nevada Board of Applied Behavior Analysis, we have made the determination to clarify our stance on SB 380. NABA supports SB 380's proposed additional training for peace officers for individuals with autism and other developmental disabilities. Education and awareness of these unique needs of this population are critically needed for our peace officers. NABA stands in strong opposition to Section 4, Subsection 2 of SB 380. Our concern lies in the following. First, the proposed changes being done are in opposition to the Nevada Board of Applied Behavior Analysis and outside of our licensure laws and regulations. Our board has the most direct knowledge and interaction with the data and concerns related to public safety, and their feedback should weigh heavily on decisions regarding changes to our rules and regulations. Second, the most recent communications with DPS has indicated implementation of an electronic background check will likely streamline the overall process and speed of receiving background checks. This would essentially make the need for SB 380 Section 4, Subsection 2 moot. Third, it is our understanding that under the Fair Credit Reporting Act and Nevada state law, the sharing of background checks between entities is not allowed. Thus, the current proposed amendments requiring proof of background checks by individual employers may in fact be a violation of the employee's rights. If proof of only an attestation is currently required by the National Behavior Analyst Certification Board, our state has already shared data that there's inadequacies in these. Several companies are not completing background checks, awaiting for the board's background clearance to serve as their attestation. Other companies have been falsely attesting or inadvertently running subpar background checks, which are missing critical information for the individual's records. Either scenario places risk to the consumer safety for a highly vulnerable population. Moving forward with SB 380 will weaken the consumer protections that were ensured in our original licensure laws and regulations. Given these above-mentioned concerns, NABA is of the consensus that direct criminal background checks should remain under the jurisdiction of the board to ensure firsthand knowledge of compliance and accuracy. This allows for consumer protection to remain at the forefront of the individuals we serve and preserve the integrity and ethics of our license boards. Thank you for your time. The one other thing that I would like to add is a personal, it was Gwen Johnson, Johnson for the record. Mr. Lovaas stated that 47 states do not have boards. Most all of our states actually have boards. They just don't require the background check and the licensure of the RBTs as our board does. And I keep hearing that we're losing RBTs. A lot of this has to do with individual companies' policies, lack of appropriate supervision, and quite frankly, sometimes our job is just hard to do. This is not a board issue. These are company policies issues. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. AVH, do we have any other callers in neutral?
If you would like to testify in the neutral position for SB 380, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue.
Thank you. I had some technical problems. I am calling back in as far as opposition. May I do so?
Please go ahead.
My name is Wendy Knorr. Last name is Knorr, and I am the Executive Director of the Nevada Board of Applied Behavior Analysis. I want to echo the concerns both by Dr. Johnson and Dr. Fernoffel about Section 4, subsection 2 of this bill, and want to reiterate the delays in our application process have been exaggerated. I've been providing current data, which shows minimal delays related to the background requirements. This addition of Section 2 to this bill is unfortunate. The issues are not related to the law enforcement training and really do contradict each other in a sense, increasing the safety of interactions with individuals on the spectrum to ensure their safety in the community, yet we're going to allow individuals to work directly with some of the youngest clients in very vulnerable settings and circumvent the requirements in place now designed for those protections. It seems counterintuitive to us. In addition, the fiscal note has not been addressed. It will impact the board. While we are a small board of 2, I do want to highlight that we have been through 2 renewal cycles, reviewing and approving more than 4,000 applications in a timely and efficient manner over the last 4 years that our board has been in existence. None of this information has been reviewed by us that has been presented. There's many inaccuracies about our application process. We have a 9-step process. The 2 longest portions of that is the BACB accreditation and the background clearance. We have been providing information. Our reports are being turned around in less than 25 days at this point. So we have approved thousands of applications over the last 4 years, and the majority are successful. We invite employers who are struggling or applicants that are struggling to contact us directly, and we can assist them. I'd also like to point out that all background clearances are not the same and are not interchangeable. We met with Senator Orenshaw with DPS. I provided BACB subject matter information who've studied requirements over the past decade and consistently reaffirmed that these checks are critical for consumer protection. Specific details and scope of information included in a background check can vary depending on the type of background check conducted and in the state in which it is performed. So they do not interchange. They do not provide the same level of protection that we offer in statute now.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Any additional callers in neutral? AVH.
Thank you, Chair. Once more, if you would like to testify in the neutral position for SB 380, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no callers wishing to offer neutral testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. And with that, Senator Orenshaw, do you have any closing remarks? Quick closing remarks, not rehashing the bill.
Chair Dondero, members of the committee, thank you very much for hearing the bill, and happy to continue working with stakeholders.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And with that, I'll close Senate Bill 380. And now we will go back to, thank you to the divisions that are here and your patience. All right, we will go back to Senate Bill 12, is I believe where we are. And this is the Office of the Chief Information Officer with the Office of the Governor. I see you down in Vegas, is that right?
Yes, ma'am, Chair.
Okay, you're on.
Good morning, Chair Don Delarue, Vice Chair Nguyen, and members of the Senate Finance. For the record, my name is Timothy Galuzzi. I have the honor of serving as your State Chief Information Officer. For the sake of brevity, to keep everything rolling this morning, I will just address the fiscal note that was put on Senate Bill 12. We actually put our own fiscal note on Senate Bill 12 for this sake of transparency. We put our own fiscal note on, and that fiscal note was put on due to decision unit E335 in budget account 1373. All of our budgets in the Office of the Chief Information Officer have been closed. That decision unit was around the rebranding of the Office of Chief Information Officer to the Governor's Technology Officer. The Office of the Chief Information Officer is the only agency in the state of Nevada executive branch that is named after its principal office holder, i.e. the State Chief Information Officer, that is not elected by Nevadans. I feel that that is a incredibly sacred distinction, and it should be held separate. So we have a nominal enhancement that was already approved in our budget closings, and that was addressed in this decision unit E335 and our budget closing. So with that, I will yield to any questions that the committee may have.
Thank you very much. And I am looking at the fiscal note, which I find interesting, with all due respect. I mean, that you put a fiscal note of 0 on your own bill, but that's another story. All righty, with that, are there any questions on Senate Bill 12? Okay, seeing no questions, sir, if you will step back, we'll quickly go through the support, opposition, and neutral. And with that, we'll go to support here in Carson City.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Trevor Parrish with the Vegas Chamber. The Chamber's in support from the fiscal perspective. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else here in Carson City? If not, we'll go to Las Vegas. Anyone in support of Senate Bill 12 in Las Vegas? Seeing none, we'll go to the phone lines. AVH, when you're ready, in support.
Thank you, Chair. If you would like to testify in support for SB 12, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no callers wishing to offer support testimony at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll go to opposition here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone lines. AVH, when you're ready, opposition for Senate Bill 12.
If you would like to testify in opposition to SB 12, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no callers wishing to offer opposition testimony at this time.
Thank you very much, and we'll go to neutral here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone lines. AVH, when you're ready.
Thank you. If you would like to offer neutral testimony for SB 12, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no callers wishing to offer neutral testimony at this time.
Thank you very much, and we'll go back to Las Vegas. If you have any closing remarks, please, sir, go ahead.
We're good, Chair. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We will close the hearing on Senate Bill 12, and we will open the hearing on Senate Bill 39, the Department of Emergency Management. Welcome to the table, please.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, committee.
Brett Compson, the administrator for the Division of Emergency Management. I have with me Mr. Jared Franco. Quick update here. So the fiscal note for SB 39 for a new loan officer position is no longer needed based on the actions taken by the money committees on April 26th to provide funding for a contract position within the Division of Emergency Management budget, contingent upon the approval of this bill. Also, just to note for the committee, the amendment to Section 9.2, the division was not consulted on that amendment. Pending your questions.
Yes, would you tell me the amendment again?
It is Section 9.2. It looks to relate to contracting and prevailing wages.
Is the way we see it, it went through the policy committee, so we see that it's already in the first reprint of the bill. Okay, thank you. Questions on Senate Bill 39? Okay, seeing none, thank you. If you'd like to step back, we'll go to those in support of Senate Bill 39 here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone lines, ABH, when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. If you would like to testify in support of SB 39, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no callers wishing to offer support testimony at this time.
Thank you very much, and we'll go to opposition here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and ABH on the phone line when you're ready.
If you would like to testify in opposition to SB 39, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no callers wishing to offer opposition testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to neutral here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and ABH on the phone line when you're ready.
If you would like to testify in the neutral position for SB 39, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no callers wishing to offer neutral testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. All right, with that, any closing remarks? Okay, we will close the hearing on Senate Bill 39. Thank you very much for being here with us, and we'll go to Senate Bill 83. There we go. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Charlie Donahue, Donohue. I serve as the administrator for the Division of State Lands. I'm here. Frankly, I'm a little surprised why I'm here. There are no fiscal notes.
You know, we feel the same way sometimes,
Right.
but we're happy to have you. Go ahead, please.
All right. There are no fiscal notes, and the amendment to reduce the request for general obligation bonds for the Environmental Improvement Program up at Tahoe was initiated by the agency, reducing our request from 19 million to 10.5. That has been heard in the Conservation and Natural Resource Bond programs through the CIP. So, Madam Chair, with your indulgence, I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
All righty. Any questions on Senate Bill 83 so we can lessen the confusion here? Don't see any. Thank you very much. We'll go through the...
Have a pleasant day.
Thank you very much, Mr. Donahue. Any support for Senate Bill 83? Come forward, please.
Good morning, Devin Middlebrook, Tahoe Regional Planning Agency, MIDDLEBROOK. Just want to express our support and appreciation for the Nevada Division of State Lands and everyone with the state that works at Tahoe. Supportive of the bond program and the Nevada's continued investment that supports 1,700 jobs per year at Tahoe, and for every $1 million invested, we get $1.6 million in economic activity. Thank you.
Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Chair and committee members. My name is Madison Proctor, MADDISON, and we are here in support of the League to Save Lake Tahoe. The Environmental improvement program is a vital part of protecting the lake, and we urge your support. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Any additional support here in Carson City? Las Vegas? On the phone lines, AVH, when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. If you would like to testify in support of SB 83, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no callers wishing to testify in support at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to opposition here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone lines. Opposition, please.
If you would like to testify in opposition to SB 83, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue.
My name is Pamela Sigdinos, T-S-I-G-D-I-N-O-S. I am a full-time Washoe Tahoe resident and volunteer. Tahoe community residents have worked tirelessly to raise awareness about the need for an updated carrying capacity study and a comprehensive cumulative environmental impact review to address new threats to Lake Tahoe. We are opposed to this bill, given that the Tahoe Regional Planning Agency has lost its way. When it was formed 50 years ago, its central mission was environmental protection. If TRPA still had that mission, residents would enthusiastically support. However, the TRPA today has lost the public trust due to its misguided focus on increasing tourism and attracting developers. As a result, the lake's health is more compromised than ever. The Tahoe Science Advisory Council peer review called out deficiencies in the agency's data and lack of accounting for increasing wildfire activity with, among other things, no mention of the nitrogen emissions that excess nitrogen, major source of water pollution. I really would encourage you to please put more audit and oversight into this agency. An agency scope of proposal would
I'm sorry, but if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. AVH, we cannot hear anybody, so can we go to the next caller, please, in opposition?
Thank you, Chair. There are no other callers to provide opposition testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to neutral here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone lines, AVH, when you're ready.
If you would like to testify in the neutral position for SB 83, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no callers wishing to testify in the neutral position at this time.
Thank you very much. And with that, any closing remarks, Mr. Donahue? We're always happy to have you. You know, we want to make sure you get your time.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Charlie Donahue, again for the record, Administrator for the Division of State Lands. I just wanted to make it abundantly clear that these are general obligation bonds for the implementation of environmental improvement projects that are sponsored by the Nevada Tahoe Resource Team, the state of Nevada. None of these funds go to the Tahoe Regional Planning Agency, and I wanted to make that abundantly clear to the committee. If you do have any questions, again, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Thank you very much. Any questions as we close this? Thank you very much for being here. We'll close the hearing on Senate Bill 83, and we'll open the hearing on Senate Bill 452.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is David Lenzner. That's D-A-V-I-D-L-E-N-Z-N-E-R, and I serve as the Administrator of the Budget Division within the Governor's Finance Office. I am here to present Senate Bill 452. The 2023 legislature passed SB 456, which appropriated $5 million for training for state employees and $50 million for the costs of leases and furniture for state offices. SB 452 before you today requests to extend the expenditure and reversion dates from the end of fiscal year 2025 to the end of fiscal year 2027 in the upcoming biennium. That concludes my presentation, and I have a couple phone of friends here to assist with any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. All right, with that, any questions, committee? I believe Senator Wynn has some questions.
I have quite a few questions, so I guess put your seatbelts on. I know during the 23 legislature, we approved a total of $55 million for the $5 million in training and then the cost of the leases and furniture. I've also had an opportunity to kind of look back and see on the funds that were expended and those that weren't. And so I have some concerns about how the department determined what costs were eligible to be funded with that $55 million in general appropriation. So I guess I'll start there.
Jack Raw for the record. I have Joy Grimmer, Director of Department Administration with me. I am the Chief Innovation Officer in the Governor's Office now, but I was in the middle of Department Administration at that time. The way that we determined if they were eligible cost is if they were related to a move of state staff into new locations or a change in furniture pattern to accommodate more staff in existing locations.
I guess I am concerned. Obviously, the $55 million was for the costs of leases and furniture to support employees returning to the office from working remotely. But when I'm looking at this, it looks like you also utilize those fees for overtime. Was that overtime in the move? Late fees and penalties, computer equipment, software licensing, building improvements. It just seems like it was a very broad definition of leases and furniture. So was it your feeling that, or not yours, but was it the feeling of the department that this was to be as broad as possibly could be? Or can you kind of, I mean, that's where some of my concerns are.
Jack Raw for the record. The Department of Administration, starting November 13th, because after this bill passed, we did not have individuals ready to move at that point. From November 13th to the date, we have moved 5,017 employees, 3,000 of those employees being in the south and approximately 2,000 employees in the north. When we move individuals into those locations, it is not just the furniture we need, it is not just the moving expenses we need. We need to get the data, the electrical and things to make those areas function. So we did use it in a broader manner than just furniture. We needed to make that furniture in those spaces function. We have stayed well under the $50 million to move over 5,000 employees into better locations.
So when we talk about those better locations, I see that there are some things where there was a determination to buy out like 3 years of a lease. Was that because the location that employees were going to come back to work for was no longer big enough? What are the circumstances where we had existing leases and we essentially bought ourselves out of those leases? I mean, what are the circumstances of those types of expenditures?
Jack Raw for the record. I really do appreciate that question. That question pertains directly to the DPS building, Building 43, that we're trying to buy in this year's CIP. Building 43 was originally built for Metro and FBI. It is a law enforcement building. It was constructed by Thomas & Mack as a law enforcement building. It's a hardened building meant for law enforcement presence. DPS was formerly housed at the FAST Center, which is owned by NDOT. NDOT was looking to build a $72 million building on the site of the Washington site next to Grant Sawyer. In looking at long-term plans to get ample room for NDOT to have their employees housed without having to build a $72 million building. We looked at moving into Building 43, where DPS is currently housed, to move out of the FAST Center, which then let us not build a $72 million building on Washington, properly accommodate their staff. So we saved that $72 million build. We moved it to the Building 43 with DPS, backfilled those NDOT individuals that were requiring that building build into space that was vacated by DPS. The portion of DPS that the lease buyout pertains to was a building that was in a terrible neighborhood that their academy had to go to. We're looking at buying that lease out, so Building 43 is co-located by 100% of Southern DPS staff. It will accommodate them. It serves their purpose better. It serves their needs better. If we waited for the timing of that lease expiring, we wouldn't have the ability to move the NDOT people and get them moved. It was a big shuffle of individuals to save money into the long term, and it is tens of millions of dollars we saved by making these moves. And yes, it did cost us some money in lease buyout, but looking at the overall cost savings, it was well worth that lease buyout.
So did DPS ask to move into this more consolidated region because they did not want to be in, I guess, a bad part of town?
Jack Rowe, for the record, I'm glad you brought that up because I've seen testimony that was in front of one of these committees that said we forced them to move. I can tell you when Tony Polito and I toured Director Togliatti the first time of that building, he said, "This doesn't make my day. This doesn't make my week. It makes my year just to see this building." He was in full support of that move. Maybe some of his staff wasn't, but I can tell you Director Togliatti was ecstatic to see that building and definitely wanted his staff out of the building we're buying that lease out of. That has been mentioned to me multiple times by that director.
Thank you for those answers. Obviously, we've heard some conflicting presentations and testimony regarding whether or not that was something that was requested from DPS. So I appreciate that. I do still have some concerns that this was just kind of like a blank check to determine everything fell under this, I guess, furniture and leases, cost of furniture and leases. But do you have a spending plan going forward? Like, is there a policy that's written, or are we just going to continue down the path where if we fit it into this very broad category, we're going to be able to use it that way?
Jack Rowe, for the record, this was definitely not seen as a blank check. This was something that myself had to sign off on those expenditures, and this money is not housed at the Department of Administration where Joy Grimmer is director. This money is housed at Governor's Office of Finance. So it took both leadership of Director of Department of Administration and Director of Department of Governor's Finance to determine it was an eligible cost to move forward.
So do you have a spending plan going forward?
I'll let Joy Grimmer.
Okay. Joy Grimmer, for the record, Director of Department of Administration. So we're projecting at this point that we will balance forward approximately $8 million. We still have projections out there through fiscal year end of $9 million. We will continue to provide modern furniture for locations that we haven't been able to get to, some of the rural DMVs, et cetera. And then I'll let Jack talk about the rest of the spending.
Jack Rowe, for the record. The rest of the spending that Director Grimmer spoke about and the reason we were wanting to balance this forward. To vacate some of those locations on the Southern Nevada Adult Mental Health Campus and move them to 1909, 1901, 1801, Jones Street, and other locations, Spencer Street. We are having to cover some of the leases for those buildings for the next 2 years because they were not within those agencies' budgets. So that is part of the reason we are wanting to balance those funds forward, is to accommodate specifically those moves. And I can tell you whether it is Campus Hope is located there or not. I know without a doubt the buildings that we've asked those employees to provide services to our public have long outlived their life, useful life. We should not expect employees to show up to buildings like that, let alone provide services to people in need in those locations. So we are moving them to better locations to better serve our public and provide a better location for our employees to show up.
I appreciate that. I guess I'm just curious if there's any kind of written plan for those moves and what they are going to cost so we can determine whether or not, I know we have these conversations about moving employees out of that area where, the planned Campus for Hope project is going to be, and we are assured it wasn't going to cost more money and we weren't going to have to do all these things, but obviously it is costing money to make those moves. We are utilizing balance forward money to continue to make those moves. So I don't know. I know I would feel a lot more comfortable if I saw what that spending plan was for that money that you're asking to be balanced forward. Because it doesn't sound like that's anything that's necessarily in writing.
Jack Raw, for the record, it is definitely writing. We have leases, we have furniture costs, we have data and electrical costs to get that furniture up and going. We definitely do have a breakdown by building what those costs will be, and we are currently getting estimates on moving costs and other associated costs with those relocations.
Is that spending plan, is that something that you would be able to provide this committee?
Without a doubt.
Perfect. Chair, may I ask a couple other follow-up questions? I'm looking at how there have been no expenditures to date for training, either in fiscal year 24 or 25. So I'm just wondering why the department hasn't expended any money on training during the current biennium. And if you intend to expend that $5 million for employee training in the 25-27 biennium, and if so, what are we going to do this year or this biennium?
Jack Robb, for the record, we do appreciate that money was put aside for training. It was a conscious decision made by myself, working with former Director of Governor's Office of Finance, current Director of Governor's Office of Finance, Bashir Washington, Administrator of DHRM, and then working with Director Grimmer. We looked at what we had in front of us. We looked at a vacancy rate approaching 25% that we were trying to decrease, and we were using HR staff heavily to reduce our vacancy rate. We are in the middle of the Core and V project that has also taken down additional manpower resources. And with the major changes in business functioning that are going to come as a result of the Core and V implementation, there was a business decision made not to provide training at this time, because we were lacking available resources to get those training put together with the other projects we had going on, but we wanted to provide training and modern business practices once Core and V comes online. So that's why we're asking to balance that forward, and that's why we did not spend money on training that might not have been applicable into the future.
Do you know how many employees are projected to receive that training as Core and V is implemented?
Jack Ruff, for the record, Core and V, part of the implementation plan is to provide training through CGI, the contractor, but there are other trainings that when other modules come online and other functionality of that system comes online, that we'll have to use training dollars for to maximize the full potential of that system. And it should be pretty much, it depends whether it's a fiscal function, an HR function, who it will impact, and some of this will impact pretty much every employee of the state of Nevada.
Thank you, Chair. I think I've asked more than my fair share of questions.
Thank you very much. And I just have two real quick things, and then we'll go to Senator Neal. Did you say that, so is DPS the only one moving into that building? Because I was under the understanding that NDOT was moving into that building with DPS, and DPS wasn't necessarily one way or the other with the move. In other words, they were fine where they were, that it was the NDOT people that needed to move?
Jack Rowe for the record. DPS definitely was not fine in the location we're wanting to buy out the lease. Their director complained about that location from the day I took Director of Department Administration job. Without a doubt, they were not all right with that. No, NDOT is not moving into Building 43. DPS alone is moving into Building 43. It's a sole occupancy building. It's a building that only law enforcement can reside in because of privacy issues and law enforcement type issues. It's not open to anybody other than law enforcement individuals to be in that location. NDOT comes into play in their move out of the Fast Center, which is, I think, Decatur and Sunset. And by DPS having a major footprint in the Fast Center and them relocating to Building 43, that freed up NDOT to bring their employees back and to get them out of job trailers and to get them into locations that they can be efficient and effective in what they're doing, and co-located to be more efficient and effective.
Okay, I must have misunderstood, because I had some conversations with some people, and I was under the impression that DPS wasn't necessarily like one way or the other, and that NDOT was going to be moving as well. So with that being said, would you please explain the consequences, if any, if we don't approve this extension of the reversion date of the funding?
Jack Ruff for the record. The $5 million in training, that I see that as critical training going forward after Core NV comes online. It's going to help us modernize our business practices, get people on the same page moving forward, and become more efficient on how we handle state business. It is a major shift in how we do things, without a doubt. It would have a huge impact to DHHS, specifically DCFS and DPBH, in their ability to pay rents, because we are moving into those new locations. So it would have a major impact on DHHS specifically, and we would have other missed opportunities in our ability to move some other people. We do need to move people onto the campus into those buildings that we are purchasing in this CIP that was approved the other night when I was testifying from Tonopah. And we used that money to move those individuals from their current location into the campus, because we do not use CIP bonded money to move people.
Thank you. Senator Neal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to kind of work backwards. So I want to dig into this training. You're saying that the $5 million would be for Core NV. So I guess what I'm trying to understand and break down is that in our subcommittee, right, which I chair, their OCIO and some of the other budgets that we approved had number one, training dollars, staff, and other things associated with it. And it's also my understanding that in the vendor contract for Core NV, there is also training set aside. So when you look at that globally, right, on all of the dollars, people that are being used for the Core NV across agencies, why is there a need for this additional $5 million if it's in the contract itself? And other groups have already decided, like, we need to do this kind of crossover with, you know, cost allocation and other monies that I distinctly remember reading and approving just a few weeks ago. And so I'm not connecting on why this additional $5 million is needed when it seems to be embedded in other agencies' budgets for Core NV.
Thank you for the question, Jack Raw, for the answer. Sorry about that. Yeah, Jack Rob. You are absolutely correct that there is money built in OCIO. That's more for call center support, but there will be some training associated with call center support. That's what call center support does. OCIO does, OCIO and project management and our contractor, CGI, they have some training built in. But this is a major shift in business practices. Those training dollars are on how the system specifically works and how the users interface with that system. We're trying to change the way the state thinks and processes, not only through Core and V system, but on how we conduct business going forward, how we recruit staff, how we manage staff, and other things that are associated with that. So I'm glad you used the word global. It definitely is a global approach to changing our core functions, changing our core business to be more modern and up to date on how we serve the citizens of the state of Nevada.
Thank you for the response. Madam Chair, this is probably something we need to follow up on, but and I wish I had my binder with me, but it wasn't the training that was listed in the budgets in the general government subcommittee wasn't all for call support. It was actually how to use the actual Core and V system. Like, it was literally setting aside employees that needed to learn how to program and identify. It wasn't just how do you pick up the phone and like answer questions around Core and V. It was a little bit deeper than that. And so I will definitely find those documents because they were part of our last closing. But shifting to a secondary question, and I want to dig into a comment that you made when Senator Wynn was asking about the leases, and you mentioned Campus for Hope and having to pay for leases for certain buildings that are being moved. I need to dig into that a little bit more because it was my understanding, like in our mini meetings, IFC, summer, Christmas, and then also this session, that some of those leases were a crossover with county, yes? County and some county buildings, they were owned, or county buildings that were owned, and there was not just state paying for the leases, but an MOU or agreements that were created for some of those buildings, right? Where county, either there was going to be a cooperative agreement for the county to pay a portion or the state to pay a portion. Like, I'm really trying to understand more of what you were saying and which buildings you're actually addressing and whether or not any of those buildings fit into that cooperative agreement where the county, they were county owned and this county would still have some kind of control over them.
Jack Grohl, for the record, I appreciate that question. The county has a cooperative agreement with DCFS to provide child supportive services, in-home type care for multiple reasons. They are on the campus, specifically buildings 11, 12, 13, 14. Only a few of those are occupied right now. They are owned by the state of Nevada. They're not owned by the county. They are used by the county because they are the ones that contract with the individuals that provide the care. So the building's owned by the state, provided to the county as a building that they provide care in, and that funding a lot of times is funded through state grants, but the county administers that care. The county pays a portion, the state pays a portion. When we talk about the roll forward of this return to work money that was set aside last time, that is in no place related to these relocations other than some general moving costs that we may have to absorb. The leases that I'm talking about are for the replacement of building 6161, which is the adult drop-in center that is 100% staffed and manned by DCFS staff, or DPBH staff, sorry about that. They're moving to 1909. There's buildings 16, 7, and other buildings on the campus that are moving to building 1909. They provide child support type. Their staff provides counseling for children. They actually leave this location, go out into the community and provide support. So it is 100% State of Nevada staff that will occupy 1901 South Jones. 1660 South Jones or 6060, and I can't remember the street name, it's north off of Jones right by 95. It is the replacement for youth parole and probation that is operated by DCFS also. And so the buildings that we have to pay leases on, and then we moved part of DPBH over to Spencer Street, some went to Decatur. We've moved quite a few people off that campus to other locations. Those individuals are state staff, 100%, not county.
Thank you for that, Madam Chair. Just final question. So it would be interesting, and I don't know if this exists or it can be created, is to get a map where we can see the buildings that you're talking about, and there's like a layered approach in terms of the money, whether or not there were CIP allocated to those buildings already, whether or not there was any kind of agency budget allocation. 3, whether or not this leftover expenditure from this bill, SB 452, which is, I believe, 21 million left over, what then is the third layer that's on top, so we could get an understanding of whether or not, number one, that spending is appropriate, needed, and whether or not we have dealt with it already. Because I think that's what's causing a concern for me, is whether or not this is actually needed money in order to say, well, it shouldn't revert. You should actually be able to continue to spend it, because the original purpose was to deal with the remote work and the reversal of the remote work. And now it seems to be extending upon other uses, but it appears that for certain buildings, it's already been allocated, or funds have been allocated either for lease, training, and furniture in other agency budgets. And we really need to see that overlay to understand if this is extra and may not be needed. Because we get into this like, well, building 1661 and building 1909 and then 6060 Jones. And then it's like, okay, all right, map it out. Show me the layer of money on top of those buildings, because I think that would be super helpful to understand where it is going and whether or not we're double spending or triple spending.
Jack Rowe, for the record, I'm glad you brought that up, because I can assure you we've worked directly with Director Whitley, Cody Feeney, Marla McDade, and all their staff to make sure that we are not double spending. In part of your comments, you brought up CIP. We did have CIP dollars allocated for roofing projects, for fencing projects, for electrical, for life safety projects on many of these buildings. And we've cut over $7 million with the CIP projects that were planned to go forward in the next few years, or immediately, some of them, on the buildings that we're currently vacating. So the money we're asking to carry forward has already been realized in savings by moving out of these buildings and not throwing good money after bad, like I've stated in prior hearings. We're spending a lot of money on buildings that we should not be spending money on, and I'm trying to get out of that cycle.
Thank you very much. Any additional questions or comments? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we will go to support for Senate Bill 452. If you're here in Carson City in support of Senate Bill 452, if you're in Las Vegas in support for Senate Bill 452, and seeing none, we'll go to the phone lines. AVH, when you're ready, support.
Thank you, Chair. If you would like to offer testimony in support of SB 452, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no callers wishing to offer support testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to opposition here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, on the phone lines. AVH, when you're ready.
If you would like to testify in opposition to SB 452, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no callers wishing to offer opposition testimony at this time.
And we'll go to neutral here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone lines, please, neutral. AVH, when you're ready.
Thank you. If you would like to offer neutral testimony for SB 452, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no callers wishing to offer neutral testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. And with that, do you have any closing comments?
Jack Raw for the record. I can assure you that this money is needed and required and is not a double spend in any way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you for your time. All right, with that, I will close the hearing on Senate Bill 452, and I'll open the hearing on Senate Bill 454. And Chair Monroe Moreno? Oh, sorry. Never mind. Mr. Seaver, I was just kidding you. I'm sorry. We're going to come back to you. I apologize. I'm really testing your patience today. Assembly Bill 355. I was looking at Assemblymember Monroe Moreno, and I was saying the wrong bill number, and thank you for your patience, Mr. Seaver. All righty. Thank you very much, and thank you for your patience, Chair Monroe Moreno. And when you're ready, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Dondero Loop and committee. For the record, I am Assemblymember Danielle Monroe Moreno. I proudly represent Assembly District 1 in Southern Nevada, and thank you for the opportunity to present Assembly Bill 355. It is a cleanup bill from a measure that was passed during our last legislative session, which was AB 519, which created the fund to assist school districts in financing capital improvement projects for our rural school districts and tribal schools. The existing law for the fund to assist school districts in financing capital improvements and the fund to assist school districts in financing capital improvements provides that any money remaining in those funds at the end of the fiscal year does not revert and must be carried forward to the next fiscal year. Currently, the statute we have is silent on the revisions, so it does not revert. However, this would solidify the language to the current practice that is happening. Also, during the hearing in the Assembly, I accepted an amendment that created Section 2.5 in the bill, which will allow the Director of the Office of Finance and the Office of the Governor to provide additional grants from the fund to assist rural school districts in financing capital improvements to a board of trustees of a school district in a county whose population is less than 100,000. Specifically, these grants would be equal to gifts, grants, and donations, as well as interest accrued through the retention of funds received by the school district for capital improvement projects on qualified tribal lands. It's pretty simple, straightforward. This AB 355 is simply a cleanup to align the language with the current practice. I'll stand for questions.
Okay, questions, please. Senator Buck, did you have a question? Senator Neal? Down the line? Okay, thank you for that information. All right, we will go straight to support for Assembly Bill 355.
Hello. Will Adler for the record with Silver State Government Relations, representing Duck Valley Shoshone Paiute Tribe. I just first want to come forward and thank Assemblywoman Danielle Monroe for bringing forward AB 355. It is a technical cleanup for last year's AB 519, which was the school funding bill that helped with the funding of the Oahe School project out at Duck Valley. To be clear, we did ask for the amendment in the Assembly side for the additional section 2.5, but with that, we do believe the funds that were already given for the project could be utilized even better because some of the interest accrued on the original funding can now be matched for explicitly the building of schools on approved tribal grounds. So thank you all for hearing this bill, and this will do a lot to further these efforts and perfect a real school for the people of Duck Valley. Thank you.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Chair and Committee. My name is Nicole Flangas, Flangas, on behalf of Tom Clark Solutions and the Nevada Association of School Boards, all the trustees in all 17 counties across the state. We want to thank the sponsor for all her work from the last session and this session on rural school funding plans for capital improvement projects. It's a desperate need, and we're really grateful for any pathway forward. This is a common sense solution, and we appreciate your support.
Good morning. Alexander Marks with the Nevada State Education Association speaking in support of Assembly Bill 355. Thank you.
Susan Kima, the representative for the Nevada Association of School Superintendents, and we're in support of AB 355. Thank you.
I know we've been doing SBs all morning and we had to shift our brain. All righty. Any additional support here in Carson City? Going to Las Vegas, any support? And to the phone lines, AVH, when you're ready.
Thank you. If you would like to testify in support of AB 355, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Caller with the last 3 digits 145, please press star 6 to unmute yourself and you may begin.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Marco Ovando, Marco Ovando, and I am the Public Affairs Officer and Policy Advisor for the Shoshone-Paiute Tribes of the Duck Valley Reservation. On behalf of the Shoshone-Paiute Tribes, we are strongly in support of AB 355. This bill will help us finish what we started under AB 519 in the promise to future generations of students and tribal members alike with the funding of the construction of the new Oahe Combined Schools in the Elko County School District. This bill will help us match already fundraised funds and will fill that shortfall in costs. We encourage you to vote in favor of this bill for the future of Nevada students. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any more callers in support?
Thank you, Chair. There are no more callers to offer support testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to opposition here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone lines. AVH, when you're ready, in opposition.
Thank you. If you would like to testify in opposition to AB 355, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no callers wishing to offer opposition testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. And we'll go to neutral here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone lines. AVH, when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. If you would like to offer neutral testimony today for AB 355, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no callers wishing to offer neutral testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. Any closing remarks? Okay, with that, then we'll close the hearing on Assembly Bill 355. Thank you very much. And we will go to, now we will go to Senate Bill 454. Mr. Seaver, you're on, finally. It's still morning. There's the good news. Thank you for being patient with us, and thank you for joining us today. Senate Bill 454, go ahead when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair, committee member Sean Sever from the Nevada DMV. We appreciate you hearing our SB 454 bill today that would extend the sunset date of the DMV's administrative cap on highway funds. So we would like to request that the 27% cap available to the DMV be extended through the upcoming biennium, which is June 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2027, to accommodate the cost of the DMV transformation effort. We are making good progress on our project and have released rapid registration and turbo titles to the public, which has resulted in more than 20,000 successful transactions to date. So that is thousands of people not having to come into a DMV office, in addition to the many people that are already utilizing our online services. The previous cap extension was set to sunset at the end of fiscal year 2026. With ongoing work on the project, we are requesting an additional fiscal year. The DMV will reevaluate the cap percentage when we present our budget for the fiscal year 28-29 biennium. NDOT did put a fiscal note on our bill, and they have agreed to remove it. I believe they are here if you need confirmation on that. And thank you for your time, and I have friends here if you have any questions.
Friends are good. All righty, thank you very much. And with that, any questions, committee? All right, seeing none, thank you very much. Step back. We will go to those in support of Senate Bill 454 here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone lines, AVH, when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. The public lines are open and working, but there are no callers to provide testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to opposition here in Carson City.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Alexis Milrex with the Nevada Chapter Associated General Contractors, representing commercial construction in Northern Nevada. We are here today opposed to SB 454. The increase from 22% to 27% was originally passed in 2015 to help offset the cost of upgrading DMV's computer system and approved for 4 years. They've been asking for extensions ever since. This project has been mismanaged from the beginning and has cost Nevada taxpayers tens of millions of dollars. The Highway Fund has an increasing deficit as vehicle miles traveled in the state continue to increase, while funding decreases due to an antiquated funding mechanism that hasn't been adjusted since 1992. At the same time, we continue to see this request from DMV to extend the sunset to continue to pay for an upgrade that is now not expected to be complete until 2029. This directly impacts the department's ability to perform its core function of planning, constructing, operating, and maintaining over 5,000 miles of highway in this state, which provides for thousands of prevailing wage jobs for Nevadans every year. We encourage you not to pass SB 454 and instead require DMV to find efficiencies within their budget with the existing 22% allowance from the Highway Fund to finally finish this technology upgrade.
Thank you very much. Any additional opposition here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone lines, AVH, when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. There are no callers to provide opposition testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to neutral here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone lines, AVH, when you're ready.
Thank you. There are no callers to provide neutral testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. And with that, closing comments, Mr. Sever? Okay. Then we will close the hearing on Senate Bill 454, and we'll go to Senate Bill 455. You're back up.
Thank you, Chair. Long time no see. Sean Sever from the DMV. Thank you for hearing SB 455 today. That would change the name of our DMV Field Services and Central Services Division into a Customer Service Division. As we move through our DMV transformation effort, we need to reorganize our agency as we move to an online-first business model. We'll still have offices open for people that prefer in-person transactions. However, we think it'll be easier for Nevadans to do their DMV business online, which will free up capacity in our offices. This request simply does some cleanup in line with the department's reorganization. 2 divisions were merged into one, so a name change and an elimination of a division specified in statute is necessary. In addition, a name change for our Administrative Services Division is included to provide clarity and distinction between the DMV division and state administrative services. Thank you for your time and can answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Seeing none, you can step back. Let's go to support here in Carson City. Seeing none, we'll go to support in Las Vegas. And on the phone lines, AVH, when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. There are no callers to provide support testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to opposition here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone lines, AVH, when you're ready.
There are no callers to provide opposition testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. And we'll go to neutral here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone lines, AVH, when you're ready.
There are no callers to provide neutral testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. Any closing comments? Okay, you're done. Thank you very much for being here with us and for your patience. And with that, we will move on to Senate Bill 456 with the GFO. Okay, please go ahead. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Tiffany Greenmeyer. I serve as the director for the Governor's Finance Office, and I'm here today to present Senate Bill 456. This bill proposes to transfer the Office of Federal Assistance in the Office of the Governor to the Governor's Finance Office, and changes the executive director title to a deputy director title. This proposal will allow OFA to receive additional support to carry out the mission of the office. And with that, I will stand for any questions. Oh, sorry, I forgot to introduce you.
Okay, any questions? Senator Neal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I get it's more of a like how will this change advance, I guess, the financial position of the GFO, understanding what federal, I guess, impacts or policies will come down?
Akia Sanders, Director of OFA, for the record. Thank you, Senator Neal, for that question. So since I have taken over in August, I've been working very closely with GFO, and I would be honest, in setting up the office without GFO support, we wouldn't have been able to do that successfully. As you guys were talking about earlier with one of the previous bills and the return to work funds, we were one of those offices that served as a pilot program to work from home. And so we didn't have a set office in Northern Nevada. We weren't budgeted for rent. We weren't budgeted for furniture. We weren't budgeted for any of those things. And so bringing staff back into the office without the support of GFO and being able to navigate to really move this office forward, I think has been different renditions of directors that haven't quite pushed it forward. And I think we're in a really good space right now. And the collaboration that we have with the Governor's Finance Office has been very helpful to really marry the programmatic pieces of grants with the fiscal part and make sure that we understand federal compliance as well as state regulations. That was a very long answer, so please let me know if you have any more questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's where I was kind of headed, so thank you, Senator Neal. All right, any additional questions from the committee? All right, thank you very much. You can step back. We'll go to support for Senate Bill 456. Anyone here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone lines, AVH, when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. There are no callers to offer support testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to opposition here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone line, AVH, when you're ready.
There are no callers to provide opposition testimony at this time.
Thank you very much, and we'll go to neutral here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone line.
Thank you. There are no callers to provide neutral testimony at this time.
All right, with that, would you like to say anything, Director? Okay, thank you. With that, we will close the hearing on Senate Bill 456, and we'll open the hearing on Senate Bill 462. Mr. Palmer, your turn. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair and members of the Senate Committee on Finance. My name is Curtis Palmer. I serve as the Deputy Director for the Governor's Finance Office. That's CURTISPALMER. And with me is Director Tiffany Greenemeyer and Administrator David Lensner. During last session, AB 346 made some revisions to the State Financial Administration. Before you today is Senate Bill 462. Which further refines and revises provisions related to the state financial administration. While some of the additions add clarity and further define language, I would like to touch on just 4 important changes. The first change is in Section 1, subsection 5. The definition of adjusted base budget changes from the amount appropriated or authorized to support ongoing expenditures in the second year of the current biennium to revenues received and expenditures made in the first year of the current biennium. This change will remove some of the ambiguity in working with forecasted or budgeted numbers as approved from the previous legislative session. The second change is in Section 1, subsection 5B2, and stipulates that travel will be based on market rate in the second year of the current biennium. This change will better hone in on the cost of travel by using pricing from the year immediately preceding the start of a new biennium. And the third change to highlight is found in Section 3, subsection 3, which clarifies the calculation of the 26% calculation for stabilization to the operation of state government. And the fourth change in Section 4, which changes the preparation of statewide cost allocation from the Administrative Services Division, Department of Administration, to the Budget Division of the Governor's Finance Office. This change brings the responsibility squarely for statewide cost allocation squarely on the shoulders of the Budget Division. And there are other changes, again, that make some clarification to the State Financial Administration, but rather than recite to you things that you can read, we'll go ahead and stand for any questions at this point. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right, with that, any questions, committee? Seeing none? All right, you're off the hook. Step back. We'll go to support in Carson City and in Las Vegas and on the phone lines AVH when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. There are no callers to provide support testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to opposition here in Carson City, in Las Vegas, and on the phone lines AVH when you're ready.
There are no callers to provide opposition testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. And we'll go to neutral here in Carson City, Las Vegas, and on the phone lines AVH when you're ready.
There are no callers to provide neutral testimony at this time.
With that, any closing comments, Mr. Palmer? Okay, you're off the hook. You can go back to work. Thank you very much for being here today. And with that, we will now close the hearing on Senate Bill 462, and we will go to hearing Senate Bill 228. Senator Pazina, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate you being here today. And when you're ready, you may begin.
Thank you so much, Chair Dundera Loop and members of the Senate Committee on Finance. I know it's been a long morning, so I'm going to endeavor to be quick. My name is Julie Pizzina, and I represent Senate District 12 in Clark County, and I'm pleased to be here today to present Senate Bill 228, which appropriates money to establish a pediatric stem cell and bone marrow transplant program. And I'm also joined over Zoom by Annette Logan Parker with Cure for the Kids. But I will start us out with some background information. Currently, Nevada lacks an in-state pediatric stem cell and bone marrow transplant program. That means children are required with life-threatening conditions such as leukemia and other blood disorders to travel out of state for critical care. This situation places significant emotional, financial, and logistical burdens on families, often resulting in delays in treatment and increased hardship. The absence of such specialized services in Nevada highlight a gap in the state's pediatric healthcare infrastructure. Establishing a local program will not only improve access to timely, high-quality care for Nevada's children, but also strengthen the state's capacity to respond to complex pediatric health needs. Just a brief statement on the fiscal impact. Senate Bill 228 proposes a significant investment in Nevada's pediatric healthcare infrastructure. It would appropriate funds to establish a pediatric stem cell and bone marrow transplant program within the state. The bill directs $7 million from the State General Fund to the Alliance for Childhood Diseases, operating as Cure for the Kids, for the construction and upgrading of necessary infrastructure, acquisition of equipment and supplies, and to facilitate the program's accreditation by the Foundation for the Accreditation of Cellular Therapy. An additional $2.5 million is allocated specifically for the costs associated with conducting the first 5 bone marrow transplant operations, including pre-transplant evaluations, donor searches, hospitalization, medication, and follow-up care, all of which are essential for achieving accreditation. And furthermore, the bill provides appropriations to cover the operational costs of the program during its initial 2 years, $3.5 million in 25-26 and $3 million in 26-27. And for all of you who were not math majors, and I certainly was not one, that is $16 million in total because I spread it out quite a bit. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to my co-presenter, Annette Logan Parker with Cure for the Kids.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Annette Logan Parker, and I'm the founder of Cure for the Kids Foundation. I'm honored to join Senator Pizzina to present on SB 228, which would establish a pediatric bone marrow transplant program in Nevada. For 2 decades, I've worked to expand access to specialized pediatric care right here in Nevada. In 2024 alone, we treated 7,534 unique patients. And over the past 5 years, we've cared for patients from 31 different states. That reach reflects a national reputation for trusted expert care and highlights the significant unmet needs we are working to address. Yet when a child in Nevada needs a bone marrow transplant, they are still forced to travel out of state, often for months. That burden leads to lost wages, high out-of-pocket expenses, and enormous emotional strain. It also comes at a much higher cost to Medicaid and commercial insurers who must negotiate single case agreements with out-of-network institutions, often at an elevated rate and without continuity of care, as well as the costs of lodging and transportation and all of those things when someone has to go out of state. We diagnose and stabilize these children here, and then we send them away for treatment we should be able to provide locally. So to better understand this gap, we worked with Tripp Umbach, a nationally respected healthcare economics firm. Their full report is available for review and has been emailed to the members of this committee. Their findings are clear. Nevada Medicaid on average spends $7.1 million per year in out-of-state pediatric bone marrow transplant spending. A one-time investment of $16 million is expected to generate $24 million annually in local healthcare revenue, save $1.9 million annually in Medicaid costs, and deliver $52.7 million in annual economic impact to the state in the first fully operational year alone, representing a 229% return on investment. But the long-term values go beyond the numbers. SB 228 will also create over 50 high-paying jobs and support nearly 300 statewide. It will lay the foundation for Nevada's first pediatric subspecialty fellowship program in the specialty of hematology oncology, and position Southern Nevada as a regional destination for advanced pediatric hematology oncology care. We recognize the tough decisions before the committee this session. In that context, we believe that Senate Bill 228 represents a smart one-time investment that fills a long-standing gap in pediatric care and delivers strong economic returns. It redirects millions in exiting healthcare spending back into Nevada's economy. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. With that, any questions, committee? Senator Titus.
Thank you,
I guess
Madam
you're in
Chair.
the doctor role right now. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Thank you again, Senator Pizzino, being an incredible advocate for healthcare in our state, and especially through the graduate medical education programs and now this particular program for pediatrics. Support the concept. Two questions, however. First, it talks about having the money spent by September 2026 and then 2027. Knowing that it takes time to develop these programs, especially residencies, fellowships, et cetera, do you feel the money can be spent and started by then?
Thank you so much for the question. Julie Pizzina for the record, and I'm going to refer that to Annette Logan Parker.
Thank you, Senator Titus. I'm glad that you asked that question. That is a concern of mine as well. I am anticipating that the program will take longer than 2 years, and that is something that I have mentioned to Senator Pizzina and hope to address.
All right, thank you. And follow up, if I might, Madam Chair. But certainly, we want something sustainable. We want to make sure that it does get started, but not only get it started, that it succeeds. And so success is critical here. And that was my next question, is sustainability. After it gets started, we lost a residency program in family practice in Elko because it wasn't sustainable after investments. And so just looking at the sustainability, I know in your testimony, giving back what it will ultimately save us, but how do we keep this successful?
Mm-hmm. Again, thank you, Annette Logan Parker, for the record. Thank you for that question, Senator Titus. The economic impact report that Trip Umbach has done, based on the information that we've provided and the research of the regional availability for pediatric bone marrow transplant and stem cell transplant, has indicated that we can anticipate 30 transplants annually once the program is fully operational. We currently have 15 to 20 statewide now, and we are anticipating that based on where the region is, where we're located, we will receive additional referrals from parts of California, Arizona, and Utah, particularly when it's geographically challenging for them to get to the larger cities. Las Vegas is closer to them from a travel perspective. And we do believe that the program will be sustainable based on current reimbursement models that we have already recognized with Nevada Medicaid, as well as the current reimbursement that the commercial payers are already paying out of state. So we feel very confident that the program will be financially sustainable once it's up and running.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We can see that it's sustainable. We just want to make sure that the time that it takes to get it started will be within the parameters that you have listed. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the questions, Senator Titus. I know this isn't the policy committee, but could you just confirm, sort of where these children are in the queue? In other words, how many do we have waiting? Maybe how many do we need to assist in a year? Or, just give us some specifics like that.
Annette Logan Parker, for the record, thank you, Madam Chair, for that question. We currently already send out of state 15 to 20 bone marrow transplants. And they don't really necessarily wait in the queue too long. It can take a couple of weeks for us to do all of the coordination with the referring bone marrow transplant program. But we try to get those kids going as quickly as possible. We just need to get them out of state. Currently, those patients travel either to LA, Utah, Phoenix, and then some of the commercial payers have relationships with other programs, MD Anderson and different things like that, and they'll send them there. We have had many conversations with our commercial partners, payer partners, and once we receive accreditation, everybody is very excited about making sure that those patients stay in Nevada.
Thank you. And how many, when you say 15 to 20 patients, is that in a year? Is that in a month?
A
Is
year,
that-
I'm sorry.
In a
A
year.
year. Mhm.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Any additional questions? All right. Thank you very much. If you'll step back, we'll go to those in support of Senate Bill 228. Please come forward.
Hello and good morning, Chair Dondero Loop and the rest of the committee. My name is Damon Schilling. That's DAMON SCHILLING, and I'm the Director of Government Relations for Intermountain Health, and here to testify in support of Senate Bill 228. First of all, I want to sincerely thank Senator Pezzina for championing this critical legislation and to recognize Cure for the Kids Foundation for their extraordinary efforts to give children facing unimaginable health battles a fighting chance right here in Nevada. This bill is about more than funding. It's about hope. SB 228 provides the resources needed to build Nevada's first pediatric stem cell and bone marrow transplant program, a life-saving service that will finally allow families to stay strong together during the most difficult moments of their lives, instead of being forced to leave the state. Imagine being a parent and hearing the words, "Your child has cancer," and then being told treatment they need is hundreds of miles away. SB 228 is how we change that story. It's how we bring compassion, innovation, and dignity into the care we provide for our kids. At Intermountain Health, we are providing Nevada's first standalone children's hospital because we believe that every child, regardless of diagnosis, background, or circumstance, deserves access to world-class care close to home. SB 228 brings us one step closer to making that vision reality. We urge your support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any additional support here in Carson City? Las Vegas? We'll go to the phone lines. ABH, when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. If you would like to testify in support of SB 228, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no callers wishing to offer support testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to opposition here in Carson City. In Las Vegas, ABH on the phone lines, opposition.
Thank you. If you would like to testify in opposition to SB 228, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no callers wishing to offer opposition testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. And we'll go to neutral here in Carson City. In Las Vegas, on the phone lines, ABH, when you're ready.
If you would like to testify in the neutral position for SB 228, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no callers wishing to offer neutral testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. Closing comments? Okay, then we will close the hearing on Senate Bill 228. Thank you for presenting that to us. And we will go to Senate Bill 262. Welcome back, Senator Pezzina. Go ahead when you're ready.
Thank you so much again. Once again, good morning. Chair Dondero Loop and members of the Senate Committee on Finance. My name remains Julie Pezzina, still representing Senate District 12 in Clark County. And I am before you this morning for the second bill presentation, and this one to present Senate Bill 262, which revises provisions relating to graduate medical education. I'm also joined today by UNR Med Senior Associate Dean, Administration and Finance, Mr. Philip Clark, who will also be here to say a few words and to answer any questions. Thank you so much for hearing this bill this morning. This bill has been a lot of work and something very, very dear to my heart, and I'm so excited to be here today to share it. Nevada ranks last in the nation when it comes to the ratio of physicians to patients, with about 218 physicians per 100,000 people. Think about that again, 218 physicians for 100,000 people. Currently, Nevada has about 403 federally funded residency positions based off of population formula from 1997. United States Senators Rosen and Cortez Masto have made efforts and urged the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services to take the necessary steps to award Nevada more residency slots as recently as November of 2024. But unfortunately, we're at a standstill. And in the meantime, an effort that could be made on the state level would be the passage and approval of SB 262. And with that, I'll walk through the fiscal impact of the bill. SB 262 makes an appropriation of $4.5 million for fiscal years 2025-2026, and also $4.5 million for 2026-2027. I've been asked the question before, where does that money go? And well, I'm sure that my friend here will give you a lot more detail. The average cost for one resident per year is between $180,000 and $200,000. And that total cost depends, of course, on the class size and the duration. To give you an idea of how long residency programs last, and I know, of course, Senator/Dr. Titus has a very good idea, but if you're looking at primary care, internal medicine, family medicine, pediatrics, 3 years, OBGYN, 4 years, general surgery, 5 years, and when you come into fellowships, it can be upwards of 8 years. So when you're looking at that $180,000 to $200,000 per resident, that money goes quickly, and that's why the ask for the $9 million. And with that, I am going to hand it over to Mr. Philip Clark and let him say a few words. Thank you.
For the record, Philip Clark, CLARK, University of Nevada, Reno School of Medicine. Madam Chair, committee members, I want to share some great news today. We're graduating 70 medical students who are going on into residency. Unfortunately, they will not be doing their residencies in Nevada. We only have 35 slots, so the majority of them will be leaving the state, which is one of the challenges that we're having with physician workforce in the current environment. So we're looking forward to this support for this bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, we have any questions from any of the committee? All right, with that, you can step back. Thank you very much. And we will go to those in support of Senate Bill 262. If you will come forward. Oh, yay, we actually have students in the room. And please go ahead when you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee. My name's Douglas Collins, Collins for the record. I'm a second-year medical student here at UNR Med, and I'm here in support of SB 262 as residency funding is critical for medical training, and it's critical for attracting and keeping physicians in our state. As someone who wants to practice family medicine here in Northern Nevada, I want to be able to make sure that I have the ability to train here and stay here, and I want that same opportunity for those who seek to pursue other medical specialties, some of which we do not offer training programs for yet. I encourage you all to support this bill, as keeping doctors in Nevada is a worthy investment. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Committee. My name is Meredith Hoppe, MEredithHoppe, and I'm a third-year medical student testifying on behalf of the University of Nevada School of Medicine. As a fifth-generation Nevadan who's grown up in Winnemucca, Reno, and Carson City, I have always hoped to practice primary care medicine here at home. Now, as a third-year medical student, I've been fortunate enough to experience high-quality medical education locally in Nevada. Unfortunately, there are simply not enough GME positions in Nevada to train our medical students. Our existing residency programs have very limited capacity. For example, pediatrics, which is an essential primary care specialty, residency spots are limited to 4. It is well established that physicians are more likely to practice where they complete their residency. That's why expanding GME funding is about strengthening our state's healthcare as a whole. More residency positions will help us retain our homegrown physicians, attract new talent from outside of Nevada, and increase access to underserved communities. This is an investment in the future of Nevada's healthcare. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Cade Grogan with Ferrari Reader Public Affairs. That's CADEGROGAN, representing Dignity Health St. Rose Dominican. St. Rose supported this measure in the policy committee and would like to put our support on the record here. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair, Dondera Lupin, members of Senate Finance. My name is Annie Vong, ANNIEV, as in Victor, ONG. On behalf of Nevada Primary Care Association, the state's federally qualified health centers, they are in strong support. We believe that this is an important step to keeping medical medical school graduates within the state. We wanted to thank Senator Pezzina for bringing this bill, and thank you to this committee for hearing this bill. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Trevor Parrish with the Vegas Chamber. GME was a top Southern Nevada forum priority, and we are supported from the fiscal perspective. Thank you.
Good morning, Patrick Kelly from the Nevada Hospital Association. We're always in favor of increasing our healthcare workforce in the state, and definitely need more doctors and want the doctors who are training to stay and remain in the state. Thank you.
Good morning, Alejandro Rodriguez, Nevada System of Higher Education, and she is in very strong support of this bill. Is one of our board's top priorities. We urge your support. Thank you.
Good morning, Chris Bosse, BOSSE for the record. Thank you very much for hearing SB 262 this morning. We are in significant support. I don't have any unique thing to say that somebody else hasn't said, other than I know my organization is working very closely with our affiliation partners to try to identify new programs that we can offer and expanding programs, and this money would go a long way in support of those activities. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Reagan Comas here today representing UMC, and I'll just say thank you to Senator Pezzina for bringing this, and we are in strong support. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Cyrus Hojjati, Hojjaty. Thank you so much for the sponsor. Thank you, everybody in this committee. I support this bill. I will ditto, and I've got relatives in medical school, so it matters.
Good morning, Damon Schilling, SCHILLING with Intermountain Health. We look forward to this program and look forward to bringing some new residencies with our Children's Hospital, and ditto everybody else's comments. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Dondera Loop and members of the committee. Areli Alarcon, spelled ARELIALARCON, on behalf of Trier University, Nevada, the largest medical school in the state, here in support of SB 262. We would like to thank Senator Pezzina for all of her hard work on this bill and for her efforts to expand GME in Nevada. Thank you.
Dan Musgrove with Strategy 360 here today on behalf of the Valley Health System of Hospitals, who has hospitals statewide. I couldn't say it any better than those students. If they want to stay here, we want to keep them. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair, members of the committee. Connor Kane on behalf of HCA Healthcare. Ditto.
Okay, with that, I think we've finished support here in Carson City. We'll go to Las Vegas. Please go ahead when you're ready.
Honorable Chair and committee members, good morning. My name is Kate Martin, Katemartin, and I am the Associate Dean for Graduate Medical Education and a Family Medicine Physician at the Kirk Kerkorian School of Medicine at UNLV. As someone deeply involved in medical education and healthcare delivery in Nevada, I am privileged to witness firsthand both the challenges and the potential of our healthcare system. I'm here today to speak in strong support of Senate Bill 262, which addresses a critical issue, the shortage of residency and fellowship programs in Nevada. This bill would allow for the expansion of these programs across a broad range of specialties and subspecialties. As a result, it will improve the ability of Nevada's healthcare system to train and retain the healthcare providers we so desperately need. As a physician, I see the challenges that Nevadans face in accessing timely specialty care. With our state's physician shortage, patients often endure months-long wait lists for specialty appointments. 70% of our population resides in areas designated as primary care health professional shortage areas, making access to care even more challenging. While Nevada has made strides in expanding graduate medical education programs, we still rank 41st for the number of residency and fellowship positions available. In fact, in 2023, only 47.2% of GME graduates remained in Nevada to begin clinical practice or continue training. Of those who left, nearly half left to pursue subspecialty training not available in the state. The lack of key training programs in areas such as ophthalmology, dermatology, and surgical oncology has led many of our residents to leave the state in search of additional training. For example, while we offer fellowship programs in primary care, sports medicine, and cardiology, many other subspecialties are not represented, forcing our residents to seek opportunities elsewhere. Senate Bill 262 presents a critical opportunity to address these disparities by expanding residency and fellowship programs in a wide variety of specialties. This will not only improve access to specialty care for Nevada residents, but also increase the likelihood of retaining our homegrown talent. Students who complete both medical school and graduate medical education in Nevada have an 80% statistical chance of staying in the state. But without key fellowship programs, we continue to see many residents leave for training elsewhere. I urge your support for Senate Bill 262, which will help ensure Nevada's healthcare system has the capacity to meet the needs of its growing population and retain the physicians trained within our state. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much. And go ahead, please, when you're ready at the table.
Good morning. My name is Spencer Thatcher, SPENCER, I'm a first-year medical student at the Kirk School of Medicine at UNLV. I appreciate your time and consideration for SB 262. I'm a big advocate for it. Of everything that has been said this morning, I also just wanted to bring a couple other things in consideration. According to the American Association for Medical Colleges, the AAMC's 2021 report for MATCH, which took data from 2010 to 2020, it was found that individuals who finished their residency in a specific state were 53% more likely to continue living in that state and working in that state after residency. With that in consideration, that also means that every student that has to leave the state of Nevada to find a residency of their choice is only 47% more likely to return to Nevada to practice. Within that report, it also stated that individuals who did both their medical education and their residency in the state that they resided in were anywhere from 73 to 78% more likely to stay in that state and work as a physician. With these things in consideration, it was also mentioned by our sponsor that there's only 218 physicians for every 100,000 patient population here in the state of Nevada. Also, according to the Clark County Medical Association, unfortunately, since 2021, we've had a 0.73% decrease in the provider population here. So with our population decreasing despite an increasing population of residents that need care, it's essential that we replenish our population here in the state of Nevada. The last thing I'd like to bring up for consideration is sorry, I had my notes in my head here. But yeah, anyways, I just wanted to bring that up, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You did great. Thank you very much. And thank you for joining the profession. All right. Is there anyone else at the table?
Yes, Madam
Thank
Chair.
you.
My name is Caleb Jolly. I'm also a first-year medical student here at UNLV. Just thank you for your time, and just wanted to add my support to the other students and other people who've spoken today in support of SB 262.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else in Las Vegas that would like to make? Go ahead, please.
Hi, yes, my name is Bridger Woods. Thank you, Madam Chair and Committee, for your consideration of SB 262. I'm a first-year medical student at the Korean School of Medicine, and I offer my full support. I would like to stay here in Nevada to complete my medical training. However, Nevada currently does not have a residency that I would like to pursue, which is in ophthalmology. And supporting this bill would help bring that residency here so I can continue to raise my family in this wonderful state. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else at the
Hello.
table? Go ahead.
Apologies. Good morning. My name is Dooley Geegan, G-E-G-E-N. I'm the class of 2028 class president for Kirk School of Medicine, representing some of the students that couldn't make it today because they're in class, and just wanted to echo what my classmates already said, which is that there are most of us have strong ties in Nevada, or like myself, born and raised in Nevada. We want to serve the people in Nevada, and so we think it's a great investment to try to keep our future doctors here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else in Las Vegas that would like to make public comment? In support? All right, seeing no one, we'll go to the phone lines. AVH, when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. If you would like to testify in support of SB 262, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue.
Chair, members of the committee, Samantha Barnes, B-A-R-N-E-S, on behalf of Roseland University of Health Sciences. We wanted to thank the sponsors for bringing this important piece of legislation forward, as we are excited to admit our first class of 60 medical students this summer, and we are here today in support of SB 262. Thank you.
Next caller, please.
Good afternoon, Chair Dondero Lubin, members of the Senate Finance Committee. I apologize I'm not there in person. My name is Jacqueline Nguyen, Nguyen, and I represent the Nevada State Medical Association, the oldest and largest organization representing physicians in our state. A long-standing priority for the NSMA has been the expansion of graduate medical education in Nevada. Our state is facing significant physician shortages, which are only compounded by an aging physician workforce, rising rates of burnout, and the ongoing challenges physicians face in operating private practices. Expanding GME is critical to addressing these issues and ensuring that Nevada has a well-trained, sustainable healthcare workforce. Expanding GME is not just an ideal, it is a necessary solution for our physician workforce shortages. It requires our priority and our investment. We're deeply grateful to Senator Pezzina for making GME expansion a top priority, and NSMA is proud to support SB 262. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any more callers, AVH?
Thank you, Chair. There are no further callers to provide support testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll go to opposition here in Carson City. In Las Vegas, any opposition? And on the phone lines, AVH, when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. The public lines are open and working, but there are no callers to provide opposition testimony at this time.
Thank you very much. And we'll go to neutral. Anyone here in Carson City? In Las Vegas, in neutral? And on the phone lines, AVH.
Thank you. There are no callers to provide neutral testimony at this time.
Okay, any closing comments? Okay, thank you, Senator Pezzina. We will close the hearing on Senate Bill 262, and with that, we will go to our very last. We have two last things. The last to the last is we have a BDR to introduce, so I'll turn it over to Mr. Thorley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Wayne Thorley for the record, LCB Fiscal Analysis Division. Today, there's only one BDR that requires committee introduction. It is BDR S-1219. This is a one-shot general fund appropriation included in the governor's recommended budget. Happy to answer any questions.
Motion by Senator Nguyen, second by Senator Titus. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. And now we'll go to our last item, and that is public comment. Is there anyone here in Carson City who would like to make public comment? Oh, you almost got in trouble. Okay. Seeing no one for public comment in Carson City, we'll go to Las Vegas. Seeing no one in the room. AVH, public comment on the phone lines.
Thank you. If you would like to provide public comment today, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. There are no callers wishing to provide public comment at this time.
All right. With that, thank you very much. Thank you to all the committee members for this long morning and looking forward to more. And with that, I will adjourn. Thank you very much.